Chapter 22-28. Why would I care about you? I'm just afraid that your enemies will come and drag me down when they see me together with you. But since you're looking for trouble, I'll naturally fulfill your wish. Come at me if you're not afraid of death. Zi Xiecheng's face turned red and she was filled with murderous intent. She naturally knew that Chu Yang still hadn't forgotten about the bet. She was still thinking about it and still wanted to do that and that. But I won't let you do it. If you really dare to come, I'll let you know why the flowers are so red. Zi Xiecheng gritted her teeth and thought bitterly. It seemed that with Meng Wuya's breakthrough, Chu Yang had once again entered the next period of rapid development. The divine spirit of the calamity had been floating outside. Now, as long as it saw the falling flowers every day, the divine spirit of the calamity would feel happy from the bottom of its heart. The huge amount of evil qi accumulated over the past million years was becoming weaker and weaker. Yang Kai believed that in time, it would definitely be completely eliminated. When all the evil qi was eliminated, it would probably be the time when Tribulation's divine soul ascended to a new realm. And Brother Tiger, his strength had completely recovered. During this period of time, he was getting lazier and lazier. Every day, he would squat on Chu Yang's shoulder and take a nap on Tai Butian's or Wu Qianqian's shoulders. Every day, he would look sleepy and unable to wake up from his slumber. This situation made Chu Yang really angry. It was really hard to imagine how this guy could cultivate to such a level when he was so lazy. How could those cultivators who cultivated hard every moment of every day endure this? Chu Yang took out a batch of heaven-earth arcane yellow fruits. Therefore, the three medicine spirits joined hands and hugged Chu Yang's thighs, desperately trying to keep one for themselves. Then, Zi Xiecheng had one, Chu Yang had one, Wang Dao and the others shared one, Huyan Aobua and the other brothers' wives shared one. Lightning Snake, Duan Sungkong and the other three saber men shared two. And some were scattered throughout the heavenly armament pavilion. They sat in rows and shared the fruits. In short, on the night of the fruit sharing, thunder rumbled in the sky above the heavenly armament pavilion. The noise was more than 100 times louder and lasted for the whole night. On this day, the sky was clear and cloudless, and the sun was shining high in the sky. Falling flowers were everywhere. It was rare for the people of the heavenly armament pavilion to break through to a new stage today. No one attracted the heavenly punishment. The whole Luohua city was relieved. The Tang family's third young master ran over to report the good news, grinning from ear to ear. Under Chu Yang's strong support, his auction house had been gathering wealth from all over the world in one place. Under the temptation of the endless precious treasures that Chu Yang took out, the huge amount of purple cloud coins was like the rising tide of the sea, one wave after another, each wave higher than the previous one. The Tang family's third young master directly counted the money until his hands cramped up. Then he brazenly did something. He transferred 20 people from the family. Your mission is to specifically count the money for this old man. You must count clearly for me. I'll get 2 more people to do the bookkeeping. Then, the 22 of you will work full-time, counting money and keeping accounts. Then, he ran over to find Chu Yang. Pa, Big Brother Chu, you are my idol from the bottom of my heart. You are my dream lover. The Tang family's third young master, who was as tall as a bamboo pole, rushed over at lightning speed. He was overflowing with enthusiasm. Don't, please don't. Which part of me did you see? I'll change, okay? Minister Chu panicked and dodged. It was really not a good thing to be remembered by a man like this. Please don't change, I just admire you too much. The Tang family's third young master was about to pounce on him again. Calm down. Chu Yang raised his hands and begged for mercy. Don't be agitated, please don't be agitated, I can't stand this. Big brother, you don't know, we have made a fortune. The Tang family's third young master swayed his butt on the spot, singing and dancing around Chu Yang with his face flushed red. His saliva could almost cover the whole Luohua city. We have made a fortune. Ha, we have made a fortune. Dong 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 dong. Dong dong dong. Dong dong chong chong dong dong chong. Everyone closed their eyes and turned their heads away, unable to bear the sight. Zi Xiecheng looked at a certain singing and dancing bamboo pole and was speechless for a moment. Without waiting for Chu Yang to speak, the Tang family's third young master suddenly seemed to have remembered something important. He shouted and laughed loudly, then suddenly turned around and ran away like a galloping horse. As he ran, he shouted and laughed, her, dong 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 dong. Fuck, I forgot, how could I forget? In an instant, he was like a horse that had its butt chopped by a knife. He turned a corner and disappeared. His speed was so fast that even Chu Yang and Zi Xiecheng were surprised. What is he doing here? What is he doing here? Chu Yang looked at the people around him in confusion. I don't know. Everyone shook their heads in unison. They were also confused. This guy ran over like this, then excitedly swayed his butt and danced yanko, singing and dancing for a while, and then ran away. From the beginning to the end, they were confused. What kind of rhythm was this? Everyone was stunned for a while. Suddenly, one person burst out laughing, and then the whole crowd burst into laughter. Presumably, this guy was so excited that he couldn't tell north from south anymore. That's why he made such a scene. Just as they were laughing, everyone's expressions suddenly tensed up. They saw dark clouds gathering in the sky like a mountain. Could it be that someone has attracted heavenly punishment again? That was impossible. Who was it? Everyone looked at the dark clouds in the sky, confused. With a swoosh, Zi Xiecheng took the lead and leaped into the clouds. After a short while, he returned. Between the heavens and the earth, everything is like this. It is as if dark clouds have filled the entire Demon Emperor sky. What's going on? Isn't it a little too loud? Chu Yang was extremely puzzled about this. As the saying goes, there is no wind within 10 miles, and no rain within 100 miles. Even if it was because of the weather that the entire Demon Emperor's sky was attacked by wind and rain, there should still be a sequence of events. It was impossible to say that all the days were cloudy. That was impossible. It did not conform to the weather standards at all. However, the current situation was clear. What exactly was going on? Even the heavens had turned against him. What day is it today? Meng Wuya calmly asked. It's the beginning of December. Someone at the side answered. That's right. Meng Wuya said, tomorrow is the 10th of December. It is said that it is the birthday of the Demon Empress. It is said that the Demon Empress likes snow very much. Every time during her birthday, the entire Demon Emperor's sky will snow. Even if it doesn't snow, it will. This weather is actually caused by humans? Demon Emperor's sky is covered in snow? Everyone asked in shock. Yes, that's right. Meng Wuya nodded and said emotionally, I've only heard of it before. Now that I've seen it with my own eyes, I still feel shocked. If a person's lifetime achievement could be admired by the world like the Demon Empress, how would it feel? Everyone was speechless. That's right. At this stage in life, what else could a man ask for? Only Chu Yang thought. What kind of scene would it be if he broke through the realm of D? Under everyone's witness, the dark clouds in the sky gradually thickened. Then, wisps of white clouds drifted over from the sky. The white clouds moved under the dark clouds, like a jade belt around one's waist. It was like a peerless beauty was covered in a dreamy white veil. Then, large snowflakes fluttered down from the sky. There was no wind for thousands of miles. Only the pure white snow drifted down to the mortal world without any interruption. Faintly, there were wisps of powerful divine senses passing through. That was the joint effort of the Demon Emperor's sky's saints to create snow in the entire world to celebrate the Demon Empress' birthday. A soft chant, like a dreamy voice, rang out in the sky of the Demon Emperor's sky. The voice seemed very soft, but everyone could hear it clearly. The Demon Emperor has been the Holy Mother since ancient times. She looks down and laughs at the wind and clouds. Her lotus heart and jade bones reach the heavens. She decides life and death with one hand. Thousands of mountains and valleys are grateful for her kindness. Celebrate my Holy Mother's birthday. Pure as ice and jade, pure as jade, pure as ice and pure as jade. Snow drifts down from the heavens. The 4 billion living beings of the Demon Emperor's sky wholeheartedly pray for the Demon Empress' birthday. Let the world celebrate together. Eternal youth, forever. That solemn voice, filled with sincere prayers, echoed in the sky over and over again. Within the boundaries of the demon emperor's sky, all living beings knelt down and prayed to this heavenly emperor. At this moment, all those who belonged to the demon race, no matter where they were, would prostrate themselves on the ground and kowtow to give their heartfelt blessings. There were too many people who directly prostrated themselves on the streets and in the bustling city, sincerely kowtowing. Seeing this scene, everyone's hearts were suddenly filled with shock. The birthday of the demon emperor's sky and the demon empress was so deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. The prestige of the demon empress was actually so great. If one's life could be like this, then it would not be in vain. In the distance, there were 3 figures flying over in the form of rainbows. They had already entered the boundary of the demon emperor's sky. However, the moment they entered the boundary of the demon emperor's sky, the 3 figures immediately felt that the entire sky was filled with tyrannical spiritual energy. The 3 of them were all peak experts of the current era. Naturally, they could feel it at the first moment. Seeing the situation, they couldn't help but be shocked. The 3 of them didn't know the situation, so how could they dare to be careless? They immediately stopped and decided to assess the situation before making any plans. However, there was already a dignified voice that asked, "Who are you people? How dare you trespass into the demon emperor's sky at this moment?" The 3 of them looked at each other and said, "Heavenly Ink Cloud, 3 7-star guards. We are here to carry out urgent business. We have no intention to offend the heavenly emperor. Please let us pass." That cold and indifferent voice said, "Let us pass? Impossible. For the next month, no one is allowed to fly in the sky of the demon emperor's sky. Otherwise, we will kill without mercy." Originally, when they heard that Heavenly Ink Cloud was here, they thought that these people were here to celebrate the demon empress' birthday or to deliver gifts on behalf of the heavenly emperor of Ink Cloud, Yuan Tianjia. If these 3 people were really here to celebrate the birthday or to deliver gifts, based on the strength that they had displayed, the demon emperor's sky and even the demon empress herself would have to be indebted. Because these 3 people's strength was there for all to see. But the truth was that they were here to carry out a mission in the demon emperor's sky. The situation was completely different. Instantly, this demon race expert felt a breath stuck in his throat. Tomorrow is New Year's Day. I wish everyone a happy day. Also, the last time I wished heaven-breaking old Ka's birthday, I saw the wrong date. So this fellow is so wrong that he wants to die. He said that I changed his date of birth. Asterisk cough cough asterisk this matter, star. Chapter 22-29. This demon emperor heaven saint expert was extremely furious. Damn it, why is your demon emperor heaven's mission so tight? Why do you have to carry out a mission on this demon empress birthday? You don't give me any face at all. It can't be on purpose, right? Kill without mercy? What big words. One of the 3 sneered. Not to mention you, even your demon empress might not dare to say something like kill without mercy to us 3 brothers. To be honest, with the strength of the 3 of them, the demon empress had a high chance of victory if she were to fight the 3 of them by herself. However, if she wanted to take them down in one go, it was still beyond her ability. If the 3 of them wanted to retreat unscathed, they naturally had the confidence to do so. Therefore, even though it was very unlucky for them to say such words, it wasn't considered boasting. But saying such words at this moment, on the demon empress' birthday, was undoubtedly like poking a hornet's nest. The demon emperor heaven saint of the Umbra was also a saint expert. Although he was not as strong as the 3 of them, he could feel the terrifying aura of the other party. If it was a normal situation, he would most likely turn a blind eye and let them pass. After all, offending such a strong enemy for no reason was not wise. But today, no matter what, he could not let them go, especially when the 3 of them were spouting nonsense and insulting the demon empress' dignity. What's more, I've never heard of a 7-star bodyguard before. The demon empress' birthday was a huge issue that involved the entire demon emperor heaven. He definitely could not let it go easily. If you really want to go your own way, don't blame my demon emperor heaven for not having the etiquette of the pugilistic world. It is unavoidable to offend you. I hope you will think twice before you act. After the demon emperor heaven expert finished speaking, he suddenly roared to the sky without any warning. Immediately after, his body also revealed itself from the mist. This demon was a saint-level expert of the tiger tribe. Facing 3 powerhouses from the other side at the same time, he naturally didn't dare to be careless. Otherwise, he would have immediately sent out an emergency signal to ask for help. At this moment his position was clear. As soon as he revealed himself, he immediately returned to his original state and raised his strongest combat power to increase his chances of winning. In the air, a huge multicolored tiger that was 100 feet long stood. Its sharp teeth were incomparably powerful. At this moment he was roaring at the 3 powerful enemies in front of him. Any one of Mo Yuntian's 3 guards, if taken out individually, was once an omnipotent figure who could call the wind and summon the rain, running amok under the heavens, and no one dared to oppose them. However, they had never expected that they would be intercepted by a demon that was only a beginner-level saint after not coming out for more than 100,000 years. They had even announced their identities and tried to negotiate in a friendly manner, but the other party still didn't give them any face. Immediately, they were so angry that their livers hurt, their guts trembled, and their hearts tightened. Since when did the Jianghu become so lawless? He actually dared to take the initiative to attack the 3 of them? Provocation? The 3 of them were instantly enraged. Their faces were dark, and they didn't even have the mood to talk. They directly attacked, and their attacks were ruthless. The huge tiger let out a shrill roar, calling for its helpers to come and help, while it fought with all its might. However, the difference in strength between the 2 sides was too great. Even though the tiger was also a saint expert, it was definitely not a match for an existence that was at the peak of the saint level. Even though only one of the 3 of them came out, they still attacked with all their might in a fit of rage, not holding back at all. Back in the day, they were also kings in this heaven imperial court. With a loud roar, no one dared to disobey. Today they had really lost a lot of face. In a fit of rage, they grabbed out, and the wind and clouds in the sky shook. Heaven and earth changed color. A huge hand that was like holy white jade suddenly formed. It was about a few thousand feet wide, and in just one move, it grabbed the huge tiger that was shaking its head and wagging its tail. With a slight squeeze, it smiled faintly and said, "Little tiger, you want to fight with me with your cultivation? Your standard is still a little lacking. I pity your cultivation, and you are also a subordinate of the demon empress. As long as you call me grandfather, I will let you go. However, you must remember, in the future, when you meet your grandfather's mission, run as far as you can." The tiger glared at the person angrily, struggling in the other party's hand. It scolded, "Why, you called me grandfather?" Grandfather heard it. "Good grandson, you are really obedient." Despite being completely suppressed by the other party, he still dared to say such words. This tiger saint was truly a tough nut to crack. However, at this moment, it was a very special moment. The other party's anger had already completely exploded. The reason why he didn't immediately kill him was because he was in a foreign land and had some reservations. Furthermore, there was the huge threat of the demon empress. Therefore, he wanted to get some benefits and find a way out. However, he didn't expect that he didn't get any benefits and was instead taken advantage of by the other party. Naturally, he was adding fuel to the fire and was unable to restrain his anger. "Little tiger, you are courting death. Since you want to die so much, I will fulfill your wish." The 7 Stars guard laughed sinisterly. His huge palms slowly tightened and gradually retracted, but he still left some leeway. After all, he was in a foreign land, and he didn't want to do things to the extreme. If he did, it would definitely cause unnecessary trouble. Although the 7 Stars guard was vicious, he still hoped that the Tiger Saint would quickly give in and say a few nice words. Then, he would be able to take advantage of the situation. However, the Tiger Saint glared at him fiercely and didn't have any intention of begging for mercy. Instead, his aura increased. The white jade palm gradually retracted and didn't stop at all. The sound of bones cracking could be heard continuously. The muscles on the Tiger Saint's tiger face had already started to spasm, Large beads of sweat dripped down continuously, but he still didn't make a sound. It seemed like he didn't even have the slightest bit of fear. How stubborn. Just based on your stubbornness, as long as you beg for mercy now, I will let you go. The 7 Stars guard's eyes flashed. He still didn't want to go to the extreme. Fuck your mother's fart. I beg your mother's mercy. The Tiger Saint cursed loudly. By the time he cursed the last word, he had already spat out a mouthful of blood. Since you want to die so much, I will fulfill your wish. The 7 Stars guard couldn't maintain his composure anymore. As his eyes turned sharp, his hand tightened again and he quickly retracted it. Stop! A loud roar came from afar. Faintly, a few figures could be seen flying over at high speed like a meteor chasing after the moon. However, the 7 Stars guard only smiled faintly. Not only did he have no intention of stopping, he even increased the speed of his retraction. The cracking sounds became more and more intense as time passed. After being provoked like this, if he still let him go, he would have to stuff his face in his pants. The Tiger Saint only had time to let out a low groan. All the bones in his body were broken inch by inch. There was no sign of them being intact. Tiger! A heart-wrenching roar came from afar. More than 10 figures appeared in front of the 3 with a swoosh. Everyone had an indescribable look of grief and indignation on their faces. They stared at the 3 people in front of them as if they wanted to eat them alive. Yo, we only beat one and now there's a whole group? The 7 Stars guard's hand shook the Tiger Saint's body. He said indifferently, What? Do you want to come at me together? This seat will take on all of you alone. I will play with you. Put the person down, quickly put the tiger down. The person opposite him was a man in a green robe. At this moment, his face was also emitting dense green gas. His eyes were extremely furious. Put him down? Pa. The 7 Stars guard looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. Put him down. Do you think you can still save him? As long as this seat takes action, how can there be any survivors? Since he had already made his move, the matter was already done. Both sides' standpoints were clear. Naturally, the 7 Stars guard no longer had any misgivings. He said everything he wanted to say. Then he casually threw the Tiger Saint's tattered body out, blood spurting everywhere. The 2 people opposite him rushed out to catch it at the same time. However, they were forced to take 2 steps back by the huge force attached to it. They groaned in unison. However, they were willing to bear this huge force and protect the Tiger Saint's body with their lives. Tiger, how are you? Several experts gathered together. The Tiger Saint opened his eyes with great difficulty. At this moment, he was clearly in a dying stage. What little remained of his spirit was gradually drifting away. All the bones and muscles in his body had also turned into powder. At this moment, although he could still condense into his original shape, he was already slowly drifting away. In such a state, there was no room for recovery. Even if Chu Yang was here and gave him the highest version of heavy elixir, it would be useless. The Tiger Saint's physical body was already on the verge of dissipating. There was no room for recovery even if there were elixirs. This was an injury that could not be cured. These 3 people are causing trouble. For me, revenge. The Tiger Saint's eyes widened. He struggled with all his might and said a few words. However, before he could finish, his gaze suddenly froze. He no longer moved. His huge body, starting from his limbs, slowly turned into flowing light and drifted away. Finally, it completely disappeared. Tiger! The 3 of them looked even more sorrowful. They screamed at the top of their lungs. They were brothers who had spent hundreds of thousands of years together and treated each other with sincerity. However, they were separated by a day and night. When they met again, they were already on the road of no return in such a miserable state. What kind of pain was this? I know that your last words were for us to avenge you. Avenge you! One of them roared at the sky and pounded his chest violently. Tears streamed down his face. Then, he transformed into a huge golden-furred lion that was thousands of feet tall. He roared at the sky, I will definitely avenge you. Avenge you? Although the 3 7-star guards did not want to fall out with Yao Huangtian, Things had already come to this point. Their opposing sides were already clear. Naturally, they had no choice but to respond. He sneered, "Do you think you can avenge me with just the few of you?" The dozens of demon saints did not say another word. They all stood up with red eyes and launched an attack at the same time. The demon empress' birthday was disrupted. The demon race's dignity was challenged. Their demon brothers were killed. Chapter 2230. The fact that the three of them came together to cause trouble was already an unforgivable crime. What's more, they had killed their own brothers, the experts of the monster race. They even killed the guards of the Demon Empress birthday celebration. At this moment, there was no need to say anything more. This hatred was absolutely irreconcilable. They could only fight. They would fight and use their lives to protect the dignity of the Demon Emperor Sky. Seeing the dozens of demon race experts charging at them like crazy, the 3 7-star guards sneered disdainfully. Although the cultivation of these people was not weak, they were definitely not in the eyes of the 3 7-star guards. The three of them even took a step forward lazily and started to fight with the enemy with an extremely casual attitude. As the saying goes, an old man playing a naughty child. This was the absolute difference in strength between them. That golden lion was suddenly stomped into the dust by a huge foot that appeared out of nowhere. It spat out a mouthful of blood and was heavily injured. Even a grain of rice dares to shine. Today, I will let you know what it means by there is always someone stronger than you. What it means to be powerful. Another person grabbed out casually and actually used his hand to grab the tail of another elephant that was hundreds of feet long. He then swung it up and smashed it into another expert of the demon race. The 2 experts of the demon race cried out in pain. Countless bones in their bodies had been broken by this collision. The other 7 to 8 experts of the demon race continued to fight while sending out voice transmissions to warn them that strong enemies were coming. An extremely urgent warning came from afar. The 3 7-star protectors were still smiling calmly. They were fighting leisurely and leisurely. They didn't seem to have any intention of stopping the fight. To them, the current battle was not even a warm-up. It would be best if the other party could send a few people with enough weight to have a good discussion about this matter and quickly settle the matter. However, if the other party's attitude was really tough, they naturally did not mind fighting again. With the status of the 3 of them, killing a few saints in the Demon Emperor Sky was not a big deal. They naturally had the qualifications and weight to do so. However, the 3 of them did not expect that today was no longer a matter of status, nor was it a crime of killing a few people. This was the Demon Empress birthday celebration. The dignity of the entire Demon Emperor Sky had now been trampled beneath their feet, trampled to the point that it was worthless. If the 3 of them did not die, no one in the entire Demon Emperor Sky would be willing to let this matter rest. Even if the Demon Empress was willing to tolerate it, the Demon Emperor and the other great demons wouldn't be able to take it lying down. What's more, was the Demon Empress the kind of demon that was willing to give in? Since the 3 of them became 7-star guards, they basically didn't come out much. Even though their strengths were extremely formidable, their knowledge of the world was limited. Especially when it came to the Demon Empress birthday, they didn't have the slightest impression of it. However, it was also because of this that he had provoked this monstrous disaster. The bigger the fist, of course, represented the bigger the reason, but the truth of this layer of heaven was not applicable to all situations. For example, today, as the battle continued, the commotion grew bigger and bigger. More and more demonic beasts rushed over, and in just a few moments, all kinds of powerful divine senses arrived at the border of the Demon Emperor Heaven. The moment the demons saw the scattered corpses of the Tiger Tribe saints on the ground, as well as the fact that a few of them were so heavily injured that they couldn't move, as well as the fact that the 3 enemies were toying with their own tribesmen like a cat playing with a mouse, they were instantly enraged. They immediately attacked. As for the reason, why would they waste their breath to ask for an explanation from the enemy under such circumstances? Then they wouldn't be demons, but idiotic demons. The rules of the pugilistic world were that whoever had the bigger fist was right. No matter what reason you had, let's fight first and talk later. In this aspect, the demon race was very different from the human race. When a human race martial artist encountered an expert who was stronger than them, as long as they weren't forced to, most of them would choose to avoid the fight temporarily and not act rashly in order to preserve their own lives. However, the demon race chose to become stronger when they met a stronger opponent. No matter how strong you were, if you were my enemy, I would fight with my life on the line and would never back down in terms of momentum. Just like now, a group of demon race experts arrived one after another. Even though they knew that the three enemies in front of them were super experts that they couldn't shake, they still charged forward and fought bravely. Especially when they found out during the battle that the three of them were actually here to cause trouble for the Demon Empress' birthday. A tiger tribe saint tried to stop them, but was killed by them and even injured so many demon race experts, all of their eyes turned red. Their hatred soared to the level of national enmity, and all of them attacked as if they didn't care about their lives. The more the 3 7-star guards fought, the weirder it became. Even though they were able to fight with ease because of their strength, the situation in front of them was too strange. Logically speaking, this was only a remote area of the Demon Emperor sky, and there was no reason for so many experts to appear at the same time. But the reality was that more and more demon race experts were gathering. It was as if these people had gathered together to do something. The three of them became more and more surprised, and at the same time, they felt that the pressure on them was increasing. Because the people who came later were not only large in number, but they were also extraordinarily strong. Moreover, they fought with their lives on the line. No matter how strong an elephant was, once it was faced with a shocking number of ants, it could still be swallowed by a sea of ants. The number of demon race experts in front of them wasn't huge, but the difference between the two sides wasn't like an elephant and an ant. Although the 3 7-star guards couldn't cause any actual harm to the three of them, all of this was too abnormal. In other words, this meant that there was definitely something fishy about this. Speak, what's going on? The three of them exchanged glances and attacked at the same time, using all their strength to force the dozens of demon race experts who surrounded them out of the battle. What's going on? Now you want to ask what's going on? It's too late, the three of you must die here. Someone answered coldly, overflowing with murderous intent. You killed our people first and still dare to flaunt your strength. Now you're asking us what's going on? When you're all dead, the Yellow Springs won't be far away. Go ask the King of Hell. Under the continuous gathering, more and more demon race experts came after hearing the news. In addition, the army of the Demon Emperor Sky, which was the closest, had already started to march here as fast as lightning. At the same time, the sudden situation here had already been reported to the Demon Emperor Palace through a special secret communication method unique to the Demon Emperor Sky. On the day of the Demon Empress' birthday, Mo Yuntian's 3 great guards came to cause trouble. Moreover, they have already killed a few saint experts of our clan, including, other than confirmed dead, there are countless injured. We are currently in a stalemate, requesting for reinforcements. When such news reached the Demon Emperor Palace, it was imaginable how the higher-ups of the demon race would react. Every demon was bristling with anger, unable to restrain their anger, and extremely furious. Damn it, we didn't make things difficult for you, but you actually dared to come and cause trouble, and on such a special day. Last time, we already gave you enough face, but this time, you actually came to cause trouble again, and even worse. Do you really think that our Demon Emperor Sky is easy to bully? Coincidentally, the one who received the news was the beautiful woman in white who had just rushed back from Luohua City. Almost without thinking, she gave a death order. No matter who it is, kill them with all your strength. No matter what the reason is, kill without mercy. As soon as the order was given, the beautiful woman in white saw a white shadow flash in front of her. The main character of today's birthday, the master of the Demon Emperor Sky, the Demon Empress, appeared silently in front of her. Sister, Mo Yuntian's people are too much. They are too much, we must teach them a lesson. The beautiful woman in white said angrily. The Demon Empress faintly acknowledged and said, we definitely have to teach them a lesson. However, the person from Mo Yuntian's side is Yuan Tianjia's personal 7-star guard. The people you sent aren't enough. They can't touch them. The beautiful woman in white widened her eyes in surprise. We sent so many people, and it's still not enough? The demon empress nodded. These people are the strongest in the world. Even if I personally take action, I may not be able to take them down in one fell swoop. I have already ordered the 5 great guards of the demon emperor sky to attack together. Since we have decided to take them down, we must not leave any leeway and go all out. However, this matter is very likely to cause a war between the two worlds. We must prepare for the aftermath. The beautiful woman in white was shocked. Ah, those people are actually so important. Killing them might even cause a great war between the two heavens and earth? If that's the case, should we let them live? The demon empress faintly said, I have already said, since our positions are clear, the ending is already decided. No matter who they are, no matter how important they are, and no matter what the consequences are, since they dared to cause trouble for me in these few days, they can only die. Not to mention them, even if the heavenly emperor of that side comes personally, so what? Since they have offended me, why not fight? The beautiful woman in white replied excitedly. Sister, remember, our demon emperor sky is not afraid of fighting at any time. The demon empress snorted. An indescribable murderous aura suddenly soared into the sky and instantly filled the entire demon emperor sky. The aura of the demon empress at this moment was almost above the heaven and earth. It was a kind of superheroic spirit that was not afraid of anything. The demon empress had not shown it for many years, and today, on her birthday, it actually flared up again. It seemed like she was also angered by the 3 great guards. Is it because I have not shown my prowess for so long that no one in the Heaven Layer Imperial Court knows of my prowess? First, they were overshadowed by the 2 emperors, then they crossed realms and started a war in my demon emperor sky. Now, they are going to fight with us directly. They even picked a particularly good day, as if they want to offend me on my birthday and embarrass me. If I continue to endure, I reckon no one will take me seriously anymore. This is intolerable. Chapter 2231. Yuan Tianjie. You shameless bastard. I gave you face, but you don't want it. The demon cursed angrily. The white-robed woman was dumbfounded. Is that little bastard back yet? The demon empress asked. He's back, he's been back for a few days, but he's been bringing his lover to the library to look for the highest inheritance of the Fox clan. He's been busy for a few days now. The white-robed woman wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. She was so frightened by her elder sister's Yuan Tianjie, you bastard. It had been a long time since she had seen her elder sister scold someone like that, right? And the person she was scolding was Heaven's Emperor of the Ink Cloud Heaven. This kind of shock was a little, big. Confidant. The demon empress originally wanted to walk out, but when she heard this sentence, she abruptly turned her head while her eyes flickered with divine light. What confidant? It's a little girl from the Fox clan. This time, I met her by accident outside. Ningning fell in love with her at first sight, and he was very attentive to her every day. I think he's fulfilling elder sister's wish. The white-robed woman smiled. The demon empress was surprised. Then he's no longer fantasizing about Miss Z? Ha! The beautiful woman in white laughed. In fact, little Z already has a sweetheart. Moreover, after seeing that person, she punched and kicked him. Our heir Ning was so scared that his heart and liver trembled. Many times, he rejoiced and said to me, fortunately, Miss Z didn't agree with him. Otherwise, I really can't live this day. Ha! The demon empress laughed as well. Later, remember to ask that rascal to bring his confidant over for me to take a closer look at. That bastard, he didn't even tell me about such a big matter. Okay. The white-robed woman immediately left. The demon empress was right, this was indeed a big matter, and a super big matter in the entire demon emperor heaven. It was naturally a small matter for a normal family to find a wife, but for the only grand prince of the demon race to find a wife, it was definitely a big matter in the world, at least in the demon emperor heaven. This was because this wife was very likely to be the demon empress, and she needed to be the mother of the world. Not long after, Yao Ningning arrived with Bai Shixian trembling in fear. After countless years of accumulated power, Yao Ningning had developed a habitual fear. Whenever she saw her mother, her legs would tremble. It wasn't a fear of power, but a genuine fear of being beaten. In Yao Ningning's memories, the number of times she saw her mother not being beaten could be counted on one hand. At this moment, Bai Shixian was actually natural and unrestrained. Greetings to the Demon Empress. Following Chu Yang and Mo Qingwu, she had seen a lot of grand occasions. She had seen countless of the so-called heirs of kings. Now that he was meeting the Demon Empress, and it wasn't even in a formal setting, he didn't feel any discomfort. In view of this, even though it was the first time the Demon Empress saw Bai Shixian, she immediately had a favorable impression of her. However, when she carefully identified her, she was suddenly shocked. Wind Fox Race? Bai Shixian said, yes. The Demon Empress let out a long sigh of relief. I didn't expect the Wind Fox race to still have descendants in this world. This Empress is truly surprised. As she spoke, she actually hesitated a lot. The Wind Fox race had always been the race of beauties of the demon race. In the history of the Demon Emperor Heaven, most of the so-called beauties that could bring disaster to the country and the people were from the Wind Fox race. Therefore, the Wind Fox race was also called the Charming race. Later on, the Wind Fox race unintentionally offended someone with a great background. And this person's backer was the Saint Monarch's son. Because of this, they were convicted and were completely wiped out by the Saint Monarch's bodyguards. As this matter involved the Saint Monarch, even the Demon Empress was helpless. She originally thought that this race had already perished, but she never thought that the confidant her son had just made was actually a descendant of the Wind Fox. And it was a pure Wind Fox that had never cultivated the charming technique of the Wind Fox race. The cultivation inheritance of the Wind Fox race. I do have it here, but your nature is pure. It's a pity to cultivate that. The Demon Empress said, moreover, since you and Ningning have already reached this stage, it's better not to cultivate the inheritance of the Wind Fox race. The Demon Empress had already made up her mind in an instant. This time, it involved her son. Why would she care if he was a Saint Monarch or not? How about this? You can change to cultivating the inheritance of the demon race's royal family. This will be more beneficial to you. The Demon Empress made the final decision. Thank you, mother. Yao Ningning was overjoyed. Bai Shixian blinked her eyes and was puzzled. Why can't Yao Ningning and I cultivate the inheritance of the Wind Fox race? She was truly an innocent little girl who didn't understand the world's affairs. The Demon Empress and the white-clothed beautiful woman were both speechless. You're going to be the Demon Empress in the future. Don't tell me you still have to cultivate those techniques to charm men? In private, Yao Ningning asked nervously, Mother, what do you think of Shixian? The Demon Empress snorted and said, barely passable. Thank you, mother, for your help. Yao Ningning cheered. The Demon Empress couldn't help but laugh. You've really grown up. You know how to fight for the person you like in front of your mother. This was a sign that you've truly become a man. When the Demon Empress said, you've grown up, she was very emotional and also quite gratified. Mother, this is a birthday gift from my newly acquainted brothers. Yao Ningning was genuinely happy. She took it out from the ring. This is from Miss E, this is from Tan Tan, this is, Which big brother Chu of yours didn't give a birthday gift? The Demon Empress tilted her head. Well, the birthday gift from Big Brother Chu is in this bottle. He solemnly told me that I'm forbidden to open this bottle, so I don't know what it is exactly. Yao Ningning took out a bottle. In an instant, the entire hall was surrounded by a dense purple light. It's actually a bottle made of purple crystal jade essence. Just this bottle alone can be considered a treasure. The Demon Empress raised her eyebrows. Even though purple crystal jade essence wasn't something too rare for the Demon Empress, such a large and complete piece of purple crystal jade essence was only made into a bottle for packaging. Then, the value of the thing in the bottle was already imaginable. It was definitely not something ordinary. Mother, Big Brother Chu once said that when you open this bottle, you must use your vital energy to seal the thing inside. You must not miss anything. Yao Ningning hemmed and hawed. Obviously, she didn't understand a certain someone's earnest instructions. The demon empress frowned and said, "Could it be that there's something very rare here? I'd like to see what good thing it is." As she spoke, she didn't hesitate. With a wave of her jade hand, a pure and holy white light instantly sealed an extremely small area. Then she opened the bottle. The moment the bottle was opened, an extremely pure and surging medicinal power suddenly surged out of the bottle. In an instant, it actually had the tendency to break through the demon empress seal. The demon empress was truly shocked at this moment. She once again increased the sealing power of her vital energy. Then she poured out a fruit from the bottle. It was a squarish fruit with words on each side. And that crazy pure spiritual energy was being emitted from this fruit. This is really the most valuable birthday present I've ever received in my life. There's no other. The demon empress said in surprise and joy. Then she said, "Open your mouth." Hearing this, the other party, Yao Ningning, didn't react. What did she mean? Why did she open her mouth? Without another word, the demon empress pinched open Yao Ningning's mouth with one hand. The next moment, she had already put this strange fruit into her mouth. Then she clasped her hands together. The small portion of medicinal power that was dissipating also turned into a clear stream. Under the careful control of the demon empress, it all entered Yao Ningning's stomach. "Mother!" Yao Ningning only had time to say these two words before her mouth was already covered by the demon empress. Concentrate on cultivating. Don't let the medicinal power go to waste. Then, she used one hand to press against her daughter's back while the other hand was placed on the top of Yao Ningning's head. She channeled a vast amount of vital energy to help her daughter raise her cultivation. Heavenly treasures were undoubtedly very important. And this birthday present that Chu Yang gave this time was definitely the best in the Heaven Imperial Court. There was no other good thing that could compare to it. If the demon empress ate it, then she was very confident that she would be able to advance further in the peak level of De Empress. Because there wasn't just pure medicinal power in it. There was also some kind of heavenly Tao law. She believed that as long as she could comprehend it, it would be a great creation. Even if she couldn't comprehend it on the spot, there would be an additional opportunity in her body. It could be said that it was extremely rare. But she still didn't choose to eat it herself. Instead, she gave it to her daughter. Weren't all mothers like this? When they had good things, they would choose to give it to their daughter first. How could there be a mother who cared about herself first? Yao Ningning's heart was in turmoil. She almost cried. It was because she didn't work hard in the past and her cultivation improved too slowly that her mother chose to give her such good things this time. In the Demon Imperial Palace, spiritual energy surged like never before. After a long while, the Demon Empress walked out, looking slightly tired. She ordered that no one was to enter and disturb her. Then she went to the main hall. She thought to herself, this Chu Yang is really interesting. Also, he is generous enough. From what I know, this guy is someone who fears nothing. He even killed Yuan Tianji's son without hesitation. But now, he gave me such a great gift because of Ning. Obviously, it wasn't because of the power of the Demon Emperor Heaven. It was because of this relationship. Looks like Ning has really grown up. She can even make such good friends. With a friend like this, I can really be at ease. But, as the saying goes, give a peach and give a plum, return a jade. Since that's the case, I naturally can't be too petty. Forget it. This time, Mo Yuntian's 3 guards came to the Demon Emperor Heaven. Their purpose is self-evident. They must have come for him. This empress might as well block this disaster for him. Anyway, those 3 fellows have hurt many of my clan. Getting rid of them can be considered as helping others and myself. It's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. There's something I need to say in advance. It's like this. Around the 7th month, I felt a bean-sized protrusion at the base of my left thumb. There was also a similar protrusion at the 2nd joint of my right hand. It was very small. From then on, I knew it was tenosynovitis. However, I didn't feel any discomfort at that time. Recently, I slowly felt that it was getting in the way, but it didn't hurt much. The main thing was that in the past half a month, my fingers had some problems flexing and extending. Often, I needed to use one hand to pull them back. But it's said that I need to do a small surgery. Now, I'm still hesitating whether to do it or not. I originally wanted to do it after I finished writing this book so that I could rest. But now that I'm hesitating. Chapter 2232. The entire Demon Emperor Palace was filled with joy as people sang and danced. It was as if the sudden incident did not affect the mood of all the demons. However, in the sky tens of thousands of miles away, the great battle was still raging and could not be stopped. At this moment, Mo Yuntian and the other two guards finally understood what had happened. They understood what mistake the three of them had made, but it was already too late. Audacious bastards, how dare you disrupt the Demon Empress birthday celebration? This sentence was said by a group of Demon Emperor Heaven experts who had just rushed over after they had killed a few people. Hearing this sentence, the three of them could not help but feel cold all over, and even their heads suddenly felt dizzy. How could it be so coincidental that it was the Demon Empress birthday celebration? And the three of them had actually killed the guards of Demon Emperor Heaven during the Demon Empress birthday celebration. This was troublesome. They had formed a huge grudge. This is a misunderstanding. One of the 7-star guards said loudly, "Please allow this old man to explain." Misunderstanding your ancestors. Almost all the experts of Demon Emperor Heaven scolded together. Explain your mother's head. At this point in time, you still have the cheek to say that it's a misunderstanding? Then, I'll rush to your house and kill your wife's parents. Then, I'll tell you that this is a misunderstanding. You have to forgive me, okay? He must have lost his mind. Go to hell. The great battle was fought until the wind blew and the clouds rolled. The sky was blood red, and it was extremely tragic. If one were to compare, even if Chu Yang, with his insignificant battle strength, led his army for hundreds of thousands of miles, encountered disasters everywhere, was full of injured soldiers, and was full of devastation, he was still inferior. Because the quality of this battle was too high. Those who were not at the level of a saint were not qualified to participate at all. Even elementary saints were not much stronger than cannon fodder in this battle. The level of the side that was besieged was simply too high. There were a few twists and turns in this battle, and they were also the key points of this battle. It was worth mentioning. In the beginning, although the experts from Yao Huangqian's side had also come to participate in the encirclement, because their strength was not at a sufficient level, the 3 Mo Yuntian guards handled the situation with ease and were especially arrogant and despotic. They faced the enemy carelessly, chatting and laughing wittily, not treating it as a big deal at all. Although they had killed and injured many demons in the process, they did not think much of it. They felt that it was not a big deal, especially when they were extremely confident in their own strength. Even if there were any accidents in the future, it would not be a problem for them to retreat safely. Therefore, the three of them were naturally very relaxed. But later on, when the three of them found out that they had accidentally disturbed the Demon Empress birthday, they truly panicked. The strength of the three of them was tyrannical. If the three of them worked together, even if the Demon Empress personally made a move, it would be difficult to take them down in one fell swoop. This was a fact, but you had disturbed the birthday of a heavenly emperor. No matter what, this was a conflict that was extremely difficult to resolve. Not to mention them, even their master, Yuan Tianxiang, would be dumbfounded. I did not expect that the 3 of US brothers would be so unlucky. We actually caused such a thing to happen the moment we set foot in Yao Huangtian. This kind of situation must not be blown up. We really did not do it on purpose. No matter how much courage we have, we would not dare to provoke such trouble. Therefore, the 3 of them started to be careful when they made their moves. They tried their best not to injure others, and tried their best to avoid increasing the number of casualties. But as more and more demons rushed over from Yao Huangqian's side after hearing the news, the attacks became more and more frenzied. Even though the 3 of them had outstanding strength, they were still gradually unable to hold on. Even if you did not want to kill and only focused on defense, the difference in strength was too great. Your rebound force could still injure others. Yet, the opponents were demons who loved to play as long as they fought. As long as a demon vomited blood, not only would the demons not regret it, all the experts of the demon race seemed to have been injected with chicken blood at the same time. They simply went crazy without regard for their lives. Stop, this is a misunderstanding. It's really a misunderstanding. The three of them raised their arms and shouted. They lowered their posture, intending to reason with them. They had already said this many times, but other than the first time, no one cared about them anymore. If you don't stop, we will have to retaliate with all our might. The three of them shouted. This time, they were threatening with force, but no one cared. Instead, their attacks became even more ferocious. We have already tolerated enough. Don't force us to retaliate. The three of them were extremely angry. Although this sentence sounded a little funny at first, with the status of the three of them, it was indeed a little aggrieved. You are just a bunch of ants. We only need to wave our hands a few more times to wipe you all out. You actually dare to pester us like this. We have already fought with you for so long, and we are not even embarrassed to kill you directly. What are you still pestering us for? The three of them were also people of high status in the past. Their cultivation had already reached the peak of the heavenly imperial court, and their status was revered. When had they ever suffered such cowardice? As time passed, they gradually became irritated, and their attacks subconsciously became heavier and heavier. Naturally, the hostility in his heart rose again. Injuries, deaths, the frequency of the gradually increasing numbers accelerated again, and after a period of time, the three of them were shocked to find that the situation was already out of control. No matter what they did, the other side's casualties were increasing, and the hatred between the two sides became deeper and deeper. There was no longer any room for negotiation. Since things had already reached such a stage, it was destined to be irreversible. Then they might as well go all out and do something even more ruthless. The three of them were burning with anger. They had made up their minds to really go all out and kill all the demons in front of them. However, at this moment, someone suddenly said coldly, "I was wondering who it was." "So it's the three of you." When the three of them heard the words of the person who came, their hearts trembled. This voice was almost right in front of them. Someone could actually come so close to speak, and the three of them did not notice? Didn't that mean that the person who came was at least an expert of the same level as them? Could it be that they only heard a dignified voice saying, "All of you back down"? An unprecedented force suddenly attacked, and the demons who were madly fighting suddenly flew out one by one involuntarily. Then, the 5 golden-robed men faintly formed an encirclement, surrounding Mo Yuntian and the other 2 inside. The faces of the people who came were as cold as water, and their gazes were as sharp as lightning. "It's you!" Mo Yuntian and the other 2 guards showed an unprecedented cautious expression. The 5 of them could be said to be old acquaintances, and were also on the same path as the 7-star guards. However, they were in Demon Emperor Heaven, and they were in Mo Yuntian's office. Back then, they had fought and killed for tens of thousands of years, and their grievances were intertwined. But now, they were already old friends who had not seen each other for hundreds of thousands of years. The cultivation of each of the 5 people in front of him was comparable to his own. The 5 of them working together was obviously much stronger than the 3 of them on his side. Even though it was not an overwhelming difference, the outcome of the battle was already clear. It's really been a long time. To think that the 3 of you are still alive. Furthermore, you actually have the guts to come to my Demon Emperor's heaven and cause such a huge ruckus? The Demon Emperor's heaven's guard said in a strange tone, "Are you really tired of living?" These few people had fought to the death in the past. Between each of them, other than being old acquaintances, they were also old enemies. Especially the enmity between the 2 heavens and earth, it had a long history, and there was no room for negotiation. When they met, there was never anything good to say. "This is a misunderstanding, and we did not do it on purpose," the 3 of them said at the same time. If there were no casualties, it would be fine. But now that so many demons have died, it can't be called a misunderstanding. The 5 guards of Demon Emperor Heaven snorted coldly. The current situation is that something happened at some time, and it led to a bloody conflict. Many demons died, and that is the truth. You are all old monsters who have lived for a long time, and you don't even understand such a simple logic? Another person said mockingly. There is no such thing as a misunderstanding in this world. The third person said indifferently. A misunderstanding, to us, is a battle. It is life and death. The fourth person continued with a smile. So, the three of you are destined to be unlucky this time. The fifth person looked at Mo Yuntian's three guards with a gloating look. His eyes were filled with killing intent. You are all dead. All of you can stay here. At this point, there was no need to explain anything anymore, and there was no meaning to it. Even if they said something like, we didn't know that today was the Demon Empress' birthday, and those who didn't know are not guilty, and so on, other than showing weakness, there was no other use. Since that is the case, what's the harm in fighting? The three of them quickly gathered their scattered thoughts. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, we were never able to determine who is better. Let's just fight it out today, and see who is the winner. Good. Let's fight. Let's go to the sea. Not in my Demon Emperor Heaven realm. Okay. The 8 of them leaped and turned into 8 long rainbows. This kind of rainbow transformation movement technique was the unique technique of peak cultivators. In just a few moments, the sea suddenly became turbulent, and thunder rumbled non-stop. Obviously, the great battle had already begun. The entire Heaven Imperial City was also in a state of change because of this battle. Demon Emperor Heaven was still covered in snow, but outside of Demon Emperor Heaven, it was already overturned, and the earth was turned upside down. And that sharp aura and killing intent that soared into the sky, as well as the aftermath of the battle, almost refracted thousands of miles away. The battle aura that belonged to peak experts also surged back and forth in the sky of Heaven Imperial City for a long time. For a moment, countless experts in Heaven Imperial City's divine senses were silently watching over there, watching this battle of the century. Chapter 2233. On the other side, Chu Yang, the king of hell, was busy recruiting and strengthening his army. His own forces. He didn't know that there was another wave of super experts coming to find trouble with him, but they were coincidentally stopped by another wave of experts. Both sides were engaged in a life and death battle. On the contrary, he was full of curiosity and interest towards this sudden and inexplicable battle of the century. I wonder which experts are fighting again. It's not a small commotion. Chu Yang touched his chin. A battle between experts usually caused a big commotion, but it wasn't to the extent that the entire Heaven Imperial Court knew about it and could see it. Chu Yang, Zi Sheqing and the rest were only relying on the benefits of the sage-level experts, heavenly spiritual perception. Only then did they feel this great battle of the century. Just the aftermath of a battle between experts of this level is not something that people like you and me can come into contact with. You'd better give up on the thought of going to watch the battle. Zi Sheqing pointed out Chu Yang's intentions and immediately shattered Chu Yang's hopes. I don't want to go, I really don't want to go. Chu Yang laughed dryly, a little embarrassed that his thoughts were seen through. Do you think I don't know your nature of wanting to see the world in chaos? Let me tell you, even if you have the tribulation space to rely on, it's better not to have any wild thoughts. In such a great battle, the space will easily shatter. Even if the tribulation space is magical, it may not be able to withstand it. There's no need to take the risk. Zi Sheqing looked at him disdainfully. Come, let's go out. I'll practice martial arts with you and raise my strength early. Maybe I'll be qualified to watch the battle next time. I'm not going, I'm really not going. I promise you that I won't go, okay? Chu Yang's face turned bitter. His current cultivation had surpassed Zi Sheqing's. This was for sure. It was already a consensus between the two of them. However, Zi Sheqing had always relied on her high-level methods to win every battle. Chu Yang was already suffering because of this. Now that he saw her provoking him again, and with such a strong reason, Chu Yang hurriedly hung up the "no battles" sign. Look at how useless you are. You're really not a man. Zi Sheqing's provocation was extremely blatant, and she did not hide it at all. How do you know whether I'm a man or not? Why don't I show you the power and prestige of a man tonight? Chu Yang smiled evilly. Bastard, how dare you tease me? Sister, you should let go. Wu Qianqian couldn't bear to see her like this. She was also a little jealous, so she hurriedly came up to persuade her. To be honest, she really had some opinions about Zi Sheqing. You said you wanted to eat, but you didn't let him eat. Why didn't you hurry and stay far away from him? Why did you have to come here every day to provoke him? What exactly did you want? You didn't know that after you teased him every day, you patted your butt and went to sleep without any worries. But when you woke him up with a belly full of lust and nowhere to vent, you came to torment us at night. In these few days, things had just become a little more leisurely. Which night had they not been tormented until the wee hours of the morning? At this moment, seeing that the initiator of all this was provoking and teasing them again, Wu Qianqian hurriedly went up to plead for leniency. Thinking of Chu Yang's beast-like impact, Wu Qianqian felt her whole body go soft and she felt like she couldn't walk. That was really too terrifying. She had to find someone to join forces with. He and Tai Budian had joined forces every single time to defend against the attacks with all their might. However, they had always suffered a crushing defeat every single time. All right, this time it was Sister Qian who pleaded for leniency. I have to give her face no matter what. I'll let you off this time. Even if she didn't give face to anyone, Zi Sheqing definitely had to give face to Wu Qianqian and Tai Budian. After all, these two girls were related to her life. Hurry up and scram. We sisters have some private things to talk about. Oh yes, Sister Z is right. You're not allowed to take the risk to watch the battle. Wu Qianqian's eyes narrowed as she chased a certain king of hell out. Chu Yang came out dejectedly. As expected, he didn't have the intention to watch the battle. He went to the field to watch Meng Wuya train his troops. Ever since Meng Wuya had advanced, his enthusiasm for training his troops was unprecedentedly high. In these few days, he had already trained his troops, which had gradually expanded to 8,000 people, to the point of hovering between life and death. In addition, Chu Yang also had a plan that he had to carry out as soon as possible. He slipped away like a wisp of smoke. In the study room. Sister Z, you're doing this every day. That's not the case, right? Wu Qianqian hesitated for a while and suggested to Zi Sheqing with a red face. When Zi Sheqing heard this, she was slightly stunned and her face immediately turned red. At this moment, Tai Budian coincidentally also came out from inside. Seeing the two of them talking, she immediately joined in. She tried to persuade Zi Sheqing, using emotions to move her and reason to reason with her. If it wasn't for the fact that she knew that she couldn't use force, it was very likely that she would use force to threaten Zi Sheqing. At the end of the day, the two women's foxtails were exposed. Sister Z, since you're no longer his match now, why don't you just give in? If it was the previous Tai Budian, she would never say such a thing. My man is my man. If you're someone else's man, no matter how outstanding you are, I won't snatch you away. But my man belongs only to me. Wu Qianqian and Mo Qingwu couldn't do anything about it, but Zi Sheqing, Tai Budian had to consider it. But after this period of time, she had already been ravaged by Chu Yang to the point that she didn't have any scruples anymore. Quickly finding help was the right thing to do. If she didn't hurry, if she quickly formed an alliance, she wouldn't have to do anything else in the future. She would be tormented by that beast-like Chu Yang for an entire night. Then, she wouldn't even be able to rest during the day. Then, it would continue at night. Now, Tai Budian already had a feeling that she couldn't bear the burden anymore. Naturally, she thought, anyway, I can't handle it. But I can't let you all laugh at me. Instead of enjoying it alone, it's better to share some of the pressure together. If 2 against 1 can't handle it, then try 3 against 1. It's better than the current situation. Submit? Zi Sheqing's face was red. She gritted her teeth. Don't even think about it. Tai Budian and Wu Qianqian were anxious. Then why are you teasing him every day? You're not taking responsibility after teasing him. It's been hard on us. Zi Sheqing's face was red. She said fiercely, what's hard on us? Why don't you two know how to be grateful? I've created benefits for the two of you. Every night, I can hear the two of you shouting very loudly. You seem to be very happy and blissful. Tai Budian and Wu Qianqian were instantly ashamed upon hearing that. So Zi Xueqing could hear everything? Actually, this was a blind spot in their thinking. Zi Xueqing was a saint. With her senses, she didn't know anything. Tai Budian retorted with a red face. You still have the cheek to say that? Isn't this all your fault? We're all sisters anyway. How can you not put out the fire after setting it on fire? Zi Xueqing never expected that the two of them would actually leave her here today to talk about this openly. She didn't even try to hide the fact that she was discussing this issue with him. For a moment, he was in a difficult position and didn't know how to respond. Although she was much older than Tai Budian and Wu Qianqian, she didn't have the slightest advantage in this aspect. Instead, she seemed to be very backward, very backward. The two of them were now full-fledged married women. In addition, there were no outsiders around. Naturally, they were quite open with their words. What should and shouldn't be said, what could and couldn't be said, what was convenient and inconvenient to say, they said everything. In addition, the two of them had joined forces to attack from the front and back. Zi Xueqing herself was a pure and innocent young lady. How could she be a match for the two of them? She couldn't hold her ground after a few words and was defeated. Especially Wu Qianqian, who said sourly, "If you continue like this, then so be it. One day, we'll also see how you're going to cry. How you laugh at us now, we'll laugh at you then. It's not that you don't report it, but when the time comes, you should report it yourself." Zi Xueqing was completely defeated. She fled thousands of miles away. Unable to show his face, he rushed out. Behind her, the triumphant laughter of the two women could be heard. Seeing Zi Xueqing leaving in such a sorry state, Wu Qianqian and Tai Budian laughed for a long time before they both became worried. Looking at Zi Xueqing's posture, it was obvious that she would continue to persist for a short period of time. In other words, during this period of time, the two of them still had to face this beast Chu Yang, who was worse than a beast. What should they do? At the same time, they couldn't help but think of another potential ally, Mo Qinggu. Sigh, if Qinggu was here maybe? Tai Budian sighed. Yes, I don't know what that girl is doing now. Wu Qianqian sighed bitterly. It's really difficult for the two of us to deal with her. It's really hard to continue. After sighing for a long time, the two women began to discuss their future matters. After the private matters, they naturally had to put their energy into proper business. They unanimously decided that they would work overtime more in the future and not come back if they had nothing to do. As long as they didn't see him, it would be fine. However, this excuse must be found carefully and not be seen through by a certain someone. That guy was very shrewd. After the discussion, the two of them made up their minds and couldn't help but feel refreshed. Say, in the future? Wu Qianqian blushed and said, if everyone is together, then the problem of who is the eldest and who is the youngest. Tai Budian smiled. I don't mind. Anyway, I'm not the eldest, but I'm definitely not the youngest either. To be honest, I really don't have any thoughts about the eldest position. I don't have any thoughts either. Wu Qianqian sighed. It's just that a dignified empress is going to be reduced to the point of being someone's concubine. This is also a little sad. What's there to be sad about? You're still the rightful empress, but you're still like this? Tai Budian didn't care and said, in the past, I didn't even have the right to be by your side. Now that I've reached this point, it's already a blessing from the heavens. Besides, I have Tai Yang. Basically, besides accompanying Chu Yang, I don't have any other desires in this life. Those who are content will be happy. Am I not happy now? Isn't that right, my Ziding? Wu Qianqian originally wanted to tease Tai Budian about this matter but was caught off guard by the counterattack. For a moment, she was a little embarrassed and didn't know how to continue. Sai, you have Tai Yang. You can be content and happy. But until now, my stomach hasn't moved at all. How can I be happy? Chapter 2234. There's no need to be so depressed. I reckon that there are only two possible outcomes. One is that everyone is equal in rank. The other is that Mo Qinggu is the boss. Tai Budian chuckled and said casually, I can understand that there's no rank, but is the second possible? Miss Z might not fight for anything. And Jianghu isn't the kind of person who fights especially hard. Wu Qianqian was a little puzzled. How could Jianghu be the boss? This involves the saying of first come, first served. Tai Badian smiled slightly. The three of us came later than Jianghu. And this has nothing to do with age. It's all because of first impressions. Of course, with Chu Yang's temperament, the biggest possibility is that there's no distinction between seniority and seniority. Tai Badian mused. Actually, compared to this, I'd rather have Jianghu be the one with the most seniority. In Chu Yang's heart, he has always felt the greatest guilt towards Jianghu. If there is no hierarchy, his focus will still be on Jianghu. If Jianghu becomes the boss, Chu Yang's guilt will subtly lessen a little, although I don't know what exactly that guilt is. Tai Badian pondered deeply. Yes, this is indeed a little strange. You don't know back then? Wu Qianqian also started to discuss this issue. Tens of thousands of miles away, Jianghu, who hadn't been seen for a long time, was sitting cross-legged in a colorful and peculiar environment. On top of her head, there was a grotesquely huge bell that was emitting a seven-colored brilliance. The seven-colored light gradually converged and transformed into a wholly white light, slowly entering Jianghu's body. Behind her, there were two elderly women who were quietly observing. Although these two people were just standing there, they revealed a trace of dignity and solemnity. They were obviously people of high authority all year round. They were the two grandmasters of dreamlike veranda. No one would have thought that Jianghu would progress so quickly. She had taken those things that she claimed to have been given to her by Brother Chu Yang. After a period of time, those things had become completely compatible with her physique. They had merged perfectly with her physique. Since then, no matter what she did, it was dozens of times more work with half the effort. When she cultivated, it could be described as 100 million miles a day, or a whale swallowing the sea. This is too strange. But they didn't know that Jianghu's physique was originally reconstructed by the heavy pill, and those that Chu Yang gave her were the essence of the great miracle medicine. As for the composition of the heavy pill, it was nothing more than a small portion of the great miracle medicine. Now, the big miracle medicine had gathered in Jianghu's body. How could this kind of effect be small? What's more, for the sake of Jianghu's advancement, the people of Dreamlike Veranda had already given all the secret resources of the entire sect to her. In addition, after the two patriarchs accidentally discovered Jianghu's heaven-defying speed in cultivation, in order to help her build a solid foundation, they actually carried out a hefty enlightenment technique. Her progress was to say, the speeds to fast therefore, in such a short period of time, Jianghu had already rushed to the peak of the celestial being level. She even had more to spare. Now, she was about to break through to a higher level. But the aftereffects of such rapid progress were also quite serious and very obvious. The progress was too fast, but the corresponding tempering of the state of mind couldn't keep up, inevitably resulting in a considerable gap. Moreover, Jianghu had lived two lives, and her spiritual power was far superior to that of an ordinary person. So, she was lucky enough to maintain her current situation. If it had been an ordinary person, perhaps they would have lost their mind due to the poor state of mind. In fact, they would have become a complete lunatic. The two grandmasters of Dreamlike Veranda were also worried that Jianghu's cultivation progress was too fast, and that it would be easy for her to be taken advantage of by the heart demon, so they specially activated the soul-repressing bell for her, and then guarded her day and night to protect her. For Dreamlike Veranda, it could be said that this time, it was a big investment. While watching this girl cultivate, the two ancestral masters were astonished. Since ancient times, it seemed that they had never heard of anyone who could cultivate so fast, and in Dreamlike Veranda, the efforts and progress of the new batch of little fellows also made everyone look at them in a new light. No one would have thought that Xue Xian could actually bring back so many genius disciples from her trip this time. Looking at the development of these children, all the higher-ups of Dreamlike Veranda were all smiles almost every day. The prosperity of the sect was just around the corner. When these children were obtained, although they paid a considerable price, in terms of the aptitude and temperament of these children, It was already worth the price to exchange for 5 of them, even more than worth it. So, that was not a problem at all. Of course, there were still some things that needed to be frowned. Because, according to the cultivation progress of these children, the many heavenly treasures that the sect cultivated or earned over hundreds of thousands of years were simply not enough. So, it was necessary to get them here, to buy them, to think of all ways, and not delay these children. Delaying any one of them would be a great sin. So, during this period of time, except for the necessary experts to guard the mountain gate, the rest of the people in Dreamlike Veranda went out to get resources. The more the better. Dreamlike Veranda's forces in Dreamlike Veranda fell into a state of chaos because of this. They began to put up lists and search everywhere, as long as there were heavenly treasures that caught their eye, but at the same time, they discovered that some other sects seemed to be collecting these things as well, such as Lingxiao faction. And other sects were also collecting these things. What was even more infuriating was that sects from other realms were also collecting these things in Donghuang Heaven. All of a sudden, heavenly treasures became goods in high demand. Yes, heavenly treasures were originally goods in high demand, but now, they were even more in short supply. Almost every heavenly material and earthly treasure was sold at a price that was 10 times higher than before, and it was still on the rise. In fact, such a situation did not only happen in Donghuang Heaven. Demon Emperor Heaven, Extreme Heaven, Ink Cloud Heaven, Stupa Heaven, and other super sects, including the government, all began to work hard to collect and hoard heavenly treasures. For a time, countless treasure-snatching battles took place in the entire Heaven Imperial Court. For example, Luo Kudi and Marshal Luo. At this moment, Marshal Luo was hiding on top of a tree, looking down at the two sides that were fighting intensely. He bit on a green foxtail, his eyes full of greed. I heard that these people are fighting over a heavenly sun chrysanthemum that can only be found by chance. This is good stuff. I must get it. I heard that one side is from a super sect, and the other side is from a mysterious person. Both sides have powerful backgrounds. But it doesn't matter, I don't care about this anymore. It's still the same old rules. When two tigers fight, one is bound to be injured. I shall be a hunter with a bow for a while more. There's nothing I can do. After using all my means and risking my life, I'm only a heavenly human now. And this is after going through so many fortuitous encounters. I thought I could finally be the boss for a while. But from the way boss dealt with Ink Cloud Heaven's pursuers so easily, he's obviously at the level of a saint. I'm still too far behind. So this time I must snatch this good stuff and I must get it. Damn it, for the sake of not losing face in front of my brothers in the future, not to mention the super sect, even if this thing belongs to that old saint, I'll snatch it for him this time. Even if I can't be compared to the boss, I still have a chance to be the second boss. Even if I take 10,000 steps back, I should at least be stronger than that stupid GMO. Seeing that the battle below had basically come to an end, and both sides were covered with injuries, when the victor was finally about to be decided, Marshal Luo raised his head and roared, "Awo, rumble!" The Heavenly Armament Pavilion's team that belonged to Marshal Luo suddenly appeared from all directions. Like wolves and tigers, they galloped forward. "Who are you people? Do you know who we are? Do you know what you're doing?" The leader said in shock. Under everyone's gaze, Luo Kudi walked out with a green foxtail in his mouth and slapped his face. "I don't care who you are. You 1, 2, 3, 4, quickly hand over the thing. You're always here to rob. This is what I always do. Hurry up, if it's too late, I'll lock you up one by one, destroy your cultivation, tie you up, and throw you into the spirit beast shed, then feed the spirit beast's aphrodisiac." In another world. At this moment, GMO was hurriedly running away like a stray dog, like a fish that had escaped the net. Motherfucker, this time I've really poked a hornet's nest. Who would have thought that I would randomly rob someone, and actually get such a good treasure, and even more unexpected that this guy is the son of a prime minister. Motherfucker. This old man's luck is really bad. Is this old man's luck good or bad? I got the thing. He muttered like this and continued to run away in a sorry state. He didn't think about it, running to the imperial city to commit a crime, robbing the most expensive place in the imperial city. What was so strange about being able to rob the prime minister's son? Not to mention the prime minister's son, even if it was the heavenly emperor's son, it wouldn't be strange for him to run into him. And how could such a person have anything bad on him? Fortunately, after robbing the imperial city's warehouse, I've already raised my cultivation to the peak of the celestial being level. Otherwise, this would have been really difficult. But this time, it seems to be very dangerous. That old bastard prime minister actually sent several saints to chase after me. It's just a little thing. Is there a need to bombard me with cannons? This is really making a mountain out of a molehill. GMO wanted to cry as he ran, but no tears came out. What's the big deal? At most I accidentally crushed his son's balls. I didn't really take his life. As the saying goes, a prime minister's magnanimity can support a boat, but this prime minister's magnanimity is a little too narrow. Chapter 2235. GMO grumbled as he ran. Why didn't he think about it? The other party's balls had been crushed by him. How big of a blood feud was this? And he actually thought that it was nothing. Instead of crushing his balls, he might as well just kill the other party. Oh no, oh no. They're about to catch up. GMO was extremely helpless. He could only stand up and fight. But before the battle, he still couldn't help but fight for himself. Tell your master that I can still cure his balls. Can I replace his balls with a pair of dogs? You motherfuckers should reply. Fight without saying anything. Watch my sword. On another side of the world. The strategist, Emotianji. Behind Emotianji, there was a huge hand. This huge hand was a few feet wide. Its 5 fingers pointed straight to the sky. Its entire body was shining with a strange light. Every moment, some symbols would light up on it. On one side, someone was collecting and recording these symbols. At the tip of the other finger of the giant hand, some words were constantly being emitted. As long as there was a flash of white light, words would appear. Beside these words, there were also people who were recording them. Whether it was the words or the symbols, they looked messy at first glance. Looking at them for a while would make one's head spin. However, under Emotianji's overall planning, everything was carried out in a clear and orderly manner. There wasn't the slightest bit of chaos. In fact, if there was someone who was really familiar with the happenings of Jianghu, who was well-informed, sharp and quick-witted, looking at it carefully, he would definitely be surprised to find that these words were actually things that were happening in Jianghu right now or had just happened. Such a huge amount of the latest and most accurate information was actually gathered here. It was truly breathtaking. That huge hand was Emotianji's original magical ability, Tianji Hand. With the help of Emotianji's strange formation, Tianji Nebula Formation, he could gather all the information in the world in detail. The extent of this formation's extension had already covered half of the world. In this area, as long as there was a new situation, it would be immediately reported back here. In this way, Emotianji could keep abreast of the latest developments in Jianghu. In addition to paying attention to the movements of the nebula array at all times, there was also a large amount of information gathered by his subordinates. Almost everyone had been sent out to gather information about the entire world and set up a branch. Then, after assessing the situation, they gradually stabilized and integrated the information into the Great Nebula Array. It was this move that allowed Emotianji's heavenly secret hand to cover a larger and larger area. It was gradually expanding. Judging from the current trend of development, the heavenly secret nebula array would not be able to cover the entire world for long. At this moment, Emotianji looked at the various types of information that had been gathered, as well as the gains that he had made during this period of time. His face was amiable and refined, as if he was a learned monarch. Anyone who saw him would immediately have a feeling that this young man was very knowledgeable and had a very good temper. At the same time, he was also a very intelligent person. He was very intelligent and knowledgeable. That was for sure. But he might not have a good temper. He might not be very, very special. Below, the hall masters of the various halls were all sitting upright and still. They were meticulous, and it seemed that they didn't even dare to take a deep breath. They quietly waited for Mo Tianji's evaluation. Last month, our income from information was less than 3 million purple cloud coins. But in the first half of this month, our income has exceeded 10 million purple cloud coins. Mo Tianji said lightly. During this period of time, with Mo Tianji's ability to see through heaven's secrets, he had done a few big things that shook the entire Jianghu. Mo Tianji's accurate analysis and prediction allowed him to surpass the most popular intelligence organization in the Heaven Imperial Court in a very short period of time. His business was booming to the extreme. It was almost on the verge of a blowout. I estimate that our income in the second half of this month will only increase. However, our current income is still far from enough. Mo Tianji said lightly, moreover, what we need is never money. We need control. Control of all the information in the world. Right now, we are still limited to this part of the world. We haven't set foot in the information outside this part of the world. What we know is really too limited. So, I order. Mo Tianji's eyes flashed. Everyone stood up together. Their eyes were burning. Chief, please give the order. I order that in the next half of this month, our intelligence network will start to try to penetrate into the surrounding parts of the world. For the time being, we don't need to collect more information. First, we need to gain a firm foothold. In the next month and the month after that, we need to completely cover the other 3 parts of the world. Within half a year, our intelligence network must cover the entire Heaven Imperial Court. The most trusted intelligence organization in the entire Heaven Imperial Court is only our Heavenly Armament Pavilion. Mo Tianji calmly ordered, I only want results. Any explanation, reason, or statement is not valid in front of me. I don't care what method you've used or what means you've used. In short, this is a death order that must be completed. The only thing that is allowed is to complete the task ahead of time. There is absolutely no delay. Everyone answered loudly. They didn't show any surprise or confusion on their faces. Instead, they all showed a fanatical and nervous expression. Following our chief, we were nothing more than a group of lowly bandits at first. But now, we have quietly become the most popular figures in the entire Heaven Imperial Court. Moreover, we have the special business license issued by the government. That is to say, we have been completely whitewashed and have become decent people. To be able to openly appear under the sun, to appear in the eyes of the world, and to sit together with those high officials and nobles to discuss business, and to be treated with respect by these people. Well, in the past, we used to call them fat sheep. But now we had changed. Bandits had become businessmen. Fat sheep had become customers. Moreover, we still needed to rob. Because earning money from these people was much faster than robbing them, not only was there no risk, but it was also very exciting. This was simply the life of a deity. This was originally a good thing that everyone could not even dream of. However, in Mo Tianji's hands, it became a reality in such a short time. And the basis for all of this was Mo Tianji's intelligence network. It was more timely and reliable than the government's intelligence network. Sometimes, the government also needed information from here. Recently, 8 out of 10 of them were leaning towards Mo Tianji's side. Since Mo Tianji's Heavenly Armament Pavilion was only facing an intelligence network and not a military organization, it naturally wasn't a threat. Moreover, it was convenient for everyone. Every month, it could collect a huge amount of tax fees. How could such an organization not be supported? Therefore, Mo Tianji's side was given the green light all the way. Cover the entire Heaven Imperial Court within half a year. This was the next goal that Mo Tianji had set. After arranging the next task, the subordinates all left. The heavy door slowly closed. This hall became a relatively closed secret room. Mo Tianji slowly sat back down. Mo Tianji sat in the middle of the big hand. The big hand slowly closed, wrapping Mo Tianji's entire body inside. Then, the main hall suddenly seemed to be in the open air. This was because the top of the main hall was suddenly densely distributed with stars. It was like a bright starry sky. Strands of starlight endlessly poured into the Tianji hand. Then, it entered Emo Tianji's body. Bit by bit, it tempered his body and strengthened his elemental energy. Tianji Nebula Formation and Tianji Hand were never just intelligence-gathering formations. They were also Emo Tianji's personal control hands. Moreover, they were the most unique and effective places to cultivate. Controlling the world was like this. Emo Tianji had already cultivated it to an extremely high level at present. He could directly draw upon the power of the stars and use it for himself. The purest light of the stars. After a short while, Emo Tianji's entire body was enveloped in brilliant starlight. As the starlight flowed, his elemental energy also gradually flowed. It became more and more vigorous. I need to use this intelligence network to gather information about my brothers. I need to temper my body as much as possible and increase my strength to the limit. I can't fall behind too much. Although I am a think tank, who said that a think tank can't be a super expert? In the future, this intelligence network will be the biggest guarantee for us brothers in the martial world. No matter if it's recruitment or any other operation, intelligence will be the most effective weapon. I want to develop it into an invincible intelligence network. No matter what, it cannot be destroyed. This still needs to be perfected. How are the preparations? Chu Yang asked Meng Wuya. Almost done. As long as Yao Ningning can get the approval of the Demon Empress and announce the operation in the name of the Demon Emperor's heaven, we can take action at any time. Everything has been prepared. Meng Wuya answered confidently. Obviously, he was very confident. Divine Soul, how are your personal preparations? Chu Yang turned and asked. In this plan, the Divine Soul of Jianan was an indispensable and important part. Don't worry, there won't be any mistakes on my side. The Divine Soul of Jianan patted his chest. Good, then we will conserve our energy and wait for the news. Chu Yang nodded. The few of them chatted and laughed confidently. Everyone believed that the resources they had prepared and all the preparations they had made had already exceeded their needs. Therefore, everyone was not in a hurry. However, no one would have thought that the preparations now were just a drop in the ocean compared to what they really needed to prepare. It was not enough at all. But at this time, Chu Yang, Meng Wuya, Tai Bu Tian and Wu Qian, who were in charge of the overall planning, did not expect this. As they were talking, they suddenly heard a loud boom coming from the horizon. This loud boom was really earth-shattering and earth-shattering. Asking for the author's vote of the year. Chapter 2236. Even the boundless dark clouds in the sky were shaken a few times by this sudden loud noise. Those were the source of the heavy snow that was created by the combined efforts of countless saint experts of the demon race. It was actually shaken by an external force. The commotion caused by this incident was definitely not small. The result of this battle of the century should be out. Zi Xiecheng frowned and looked into the distance. She could vaguely feel that there were a few wisps of divine spirit power shaking and attacking violently over there. This battle of the century between the top experts has already been going on for 3 days and 3 nights. Chu Yang was fascinated. I wonder what the final result will be? There are a total of close to 10 super experts from both sides. However, the possibility of any expert dying should be very small. However, I'm afraid that everyone will inevitably be seriously injured. This is for sure. Zi Xiecheng sighed. There's really a lot of hostility. In the sky, another mournful howl came from afar. In the blink of an eye, 2 long rainbows could be seen streaking across the sky and instantly disappearing into the horizon. Immediately, another 5 long rainbows flashed and chased after them. It seemed that they would not give up until one of them was dead. One after the other, they were like the 2 most dazzling meteors, flashing and quickly disappearing from everyone's sight. Looks like there are 7 people fighting in this battle. 5 against 2, there's a huge disparity in numbers. Those 2 were not strong enough and escaped in defeat. The other 5 were in charge of chasing after them. In such a battle between experts, if one side admitted defeat and retreated, the other side would rarely chase after them. Today, It's rare that they won't give up until one of them is dead. Zi Xiecheng looked at the sky in a daze and sighed. Although it was just a glimpse, it made everyone on the ground feel as if the gap between heaven and earth was huge. Although the few people here were already sages and had entered the ranks of the top powerhouses in the world, they usually felt that they were advancing very quickly and could look down on others. However, at this moment, even though they did not belittle themselves, they truly felt how insignificant they were. It turns out that I'm still very lacking. It turns out that compared to the real experts, I'm still not worth mentioning. Chu Yang stared fixedly at the disappearing rainbow in the sky, and an indescribable feeling of passion welled up in his heart. One day, I will be able to soar in the sky like this. Chu Yang and the others didn't know that there were actually 8 super experts fighting in this battle. He miscalculated the number of people. He also didn't know that the rapid escape light at the end was actually everyone burning their life force in a race of life. They were running for their lives. Otherwise, he definitely wouldn't be able to reach such a speed. One of the 3 guards on Mo Yuntian's side was heavily injured, and one of them was dying. The other 2 were also heavily injured, and they brought their companions to activate their last life-saving method to escape with their lives. As long as he could return this time, as long as he could preserve his life this time, then what followed next would be a long and arduous revenge. 10 years was never too late for revenge. This time, things had happened too suddenly. Because of a stroke of fate, they were intercepted and killed, which meant that they were completely unprepared. However, if they were fully prepared, just the individual strength of these 3 guards would be enough to cause chaos in the entire Demon Emperor Heaven. They definitely had the strength to do so. And the 5 guards on Demon Emperor Heaven's side understood this point. They also had the same thought. Since they had attacked, then they would definitely fight until they were dead. If these 3 people were to return alive, then the trouble that would follow would really be huge. Everyone was originally experts of the same level, and their strength was roughly on par. None of them could do anything to each other. Under normal circumstances, even if it was 7 against 1, that person wouldn't be able to win, but he would still be able to escape unscathed. At their level, wanting to kill them directly in a battle was undoubtedly a rather difficult thing. Unless they were alone and met an expert like DE, then there was a possibility that they wouldn't be able to escape. It was precisely because of this that Zi Xiecheng had such doubts previously. However, this time, because there were too many experts on Demon Emperor Heaven's side gathered in one place, intercepting them from all directions. 3 against 5, they were already at an absolute disadvantage. Moreover, they were unfamiliar with the place and people. Often, when they were moving at extreme speed during the battle, someone would suddenly join the battle and launch a sneak attack. In a battle between experts, the slightest difference could lead to a huge difference. Usually, they would completely disregard or even ignore the attacks. But now, they were like one fatal straw after another, making their situation worse. They were in danger of being annihilated at every turn. In fact, it was those occasional sneak attacks by enemies that appeared without warning that caused them to be caught off guard and slow to react. That was why they were heavily injured. If they missed this opportunity, there wouldn't be such a free lunch falling from the sky anymore. If you want to beat a snake, you must beat it to death. Once they returned, no matter how serious their injuries were, they still had ways to recover quickly. By then, it would still be 7 against 7, and they would no longer have any advantage to speak of. This heaven-sent opportunity in front of them was perhaps the one and only chance to break the balance. The 5 great guards of Demon Emperor Heaven who wanted to pass the bottleneck saw that the situation was in their favor and naturally pursued even more desperately. They didn't even hesitate to use their own life force to increase their speed, not daring to relax at all. Under the watchful eyes of the experts below, 7 rainbows, 2 in front and 5 behind, came and went suddenly. They crisscrossed and intersected, almost forming a strange huge net in the sky. However, the pursuers couldn't catch up no matter how hard they tried, and the escapers couldn't completely shake off their pursuers. The situation fell into a stalemate for a moment. Just as the pursuit in the sky was still in a stalemate, the Demon Empress birthday celebration finally ended in an orderly manner. However, during the birthday celebration, the Demon Empress solemnly announced an important piece of news to the people of Demon Emperor Heaven, which immediately caused the entire Demon Emperor Heaven to fall into chaos. According to reliable news, the extraterrestrial demons have already invaded Demon Emperor Heaven. This sudden news was like a stone that stirred up 1,000 ripples. What were the extraterrestrial demons? This was something that everyone naturally knew, and it was something that they knew very well. Thinking back to those years, the other heavenly emperor of a region, Jianghu, led an army of tens of millions and fought a bloody battle. Everyone wasn't unfamiliar with it, and it was still a popular legend. Now, the extraterrestrial demons had already occupied purple cloud heavens for many years and were currently in a standoff with the imperial court's army. This was something that everyone was well aware of, and they had always been paying close attention to the situation over there. However, in such a long time, the extraterrestrial demons didn't make any big movements. From beginning to end, they only engaged in small-scale battles, harassing battles, and all kinds of probing. Although they were endless, there was no real big battle. As time passed, everyone subconsciously heaved a sigh of relief. However, they didn't expect that at such a delicate moment, the news of the extraterrestrial demons' invasion would suddenly spread. With regards to the authenticity of this news, no one doubted it because there was no need to doubt the source of this news. The demon race of Demon Emperor Heaven could doubt anyone, including themselves. However, there was one person who absolutely wouldn't doubt it, and that was the Demon Empress herself, the Master of Demon Emperor Heaven. And this news was announced by the Demon Empress on her birthday in an unusually solemn manner, or it could be said that she was informing everyone of a fact. If it wasn't true, why would she announce it at such a time? The extraterrestrial demons sent as many as 3 million first-class experts. Many years ago, they changed their appearances, transformed into human forms, and infiltrated the Heaven Imperial Court to act as the vanguard and wait for an opportunity to take over the Heaven Imperial Court. This is also the real reason why the extraterrestrial demons seem to have been quiet all these years and didn't make any movements. The Demon Empress words made everyone's heart heavy. No wonder the extraterrestrial demons were so well behaved all these years. It turned out that they had made such a huge plan to nibble away at us from the inside and then cooperate with us from the outside to completely annihilate us. Their plan was indeed huge. However, this Empress isn't very clear about the exact number of years these spies have been lurking. The only thing I can confirm is that the current Heaven Imperial Court is as precarious as a pile of eggs. We have to plan for the worst and then proceed in the best direction. The Demon Empress words were undoubtedly very reasonable. If the extraterritorial demons had really started to set up their plan many years ago, and everyone was still clear about their actions, then they would not be extraterritorial demons. Even being able to find some clues like this might be a kind of luck. Right now, the great battle that is going on right now is the peak experts of our Demon Emperor Sky fighting against the hidden experts of the extraterrestrial demons. But we still don't know how many of such experts they have. How many of such demons are still hidden in the Imperial Court? The Demon Empress tone was very heavy. And the demon hearts of the entire Demon Emperor Sky also became heavy. Yes, the extraterrestrial demons have only exposed a few people, and they already need our Demon Emperor Sky to send out all the peak experts to go all out and risk their lives. To create such a huge commotion. Then, once the other party mobilized all their forces, what would happen? When they thought of this, everyone shuddered. Some of the more astute ones instantly looked around, afraid that an extraterrestrial demon would suddenly appear beside them. From now on, the entire Demon Emperor Sky is to prepare for war. From now on, the entire Demon Emperor Sky is to be a soldier. From now on, we must be extremely careful of the extraterrestrial demons. We must ferret out all the extraterrestrial demons in our sky and exterminate them. From now on, the Demon Emperor Sky and the extraterrestrial demons are irreconcilable. On the day of this Empress' birthday, I will issue a battle order. All members of our Demon Emperor Sky are forbidden to engage in internal strife and fight against the extraterrestrial demons with all their might. In the face of foreign aggression, we must unite against a common enemy. When the demon empress said this, she seemed to be emphasizing every word. Her voice was extremely heavy and almost condensed. It displayed her extremely heavy state of mind. On the day of her birthday, she would issue the strictest battle order. These few words instantly caused the entire demon emperor sky to boil. Sprinkle my hot blood. Protect my homeland. Slaughter all the extraterrestrial demons and protect our demon emperor sky. Chapter 2237. The demon empress' solemn and clear voice resounded throughout the entire demon emperor's sky in different ways. Everyone in the demon emperor's sky felt their blood boiling. They felt as if their hearts were about to explode as they roared in unison. My blood. Protect my homeland. Slay the otherworldly demons and bless the demon emperor's sky. My blood. Protect my homeland. Slay the otherworldly demons and bless the demon emperor's sky. The demon emperor's strategy was announced at the same time. From now on, everyone in the demon emperor's sky is to prepare for battle. Gather all the soldiers in the demon emperor's palace and prepare for battle. Martial artists who are determined to slay the otherworldly demons are to gather at Luohua City and choose your subordinates. You must act in an orderly manner. Do not fight on your own and damage your own foundation. Pass down my order. Organize a martial arts exhibition at Luohua City. In the entire demon emperor's heaven, the king of sabers, king of swords, king of spears, king of assassins. The winner can lead an army and prepare for war. Demon Emperor Tian Taining will personally oversee Luohua City. He will be in charge of all matters. Once the otherworldly demons are slain, all the kings will be listed as the kings of the demon emperor's sky. They will be respected for generations to come. Martial artists will gather at Luohua City and follow the rules to choose the number one in the demon emperor's sky. Once the army is mobilized, he will be the number one in the demon emperor's sky. I'd like to solemnly declare that there is still a long way to go to fight against the extraterrestrial demons. The extraterrestrial demons are brutal, and their cultivation is extraordinary. Martial artists below the martial saint level must not act rashly. Organize yourselves. Once the war breaks out, the supply and demand of logistics will depend on everyone. Start investigating the people in your territory. Do not act rashly. Do your best to find the otherworldly demons and pacify the world. Turn the demon emperor's sky into a paradise for the people. We will not allow the demons to grow here and disturb the world. The demon emperor's speech shocked the entire demon emperor's sky. It was a long speech, but every word and sentence became the motto of the people in the demon emperor's sky. In a short time, almost everyone could recite it. The martial artists in the world were even more excited. Whether they were hermits or survivors, they all came out of their mountains and swarmed towards Luohua City with passion. Especially when the demon empress mentioned titles like King and Demon Sky Martial World's #1 martial artist. These titles caused the blood of countless martial artists to boil. A man's life is like a plant's autumn. If he could use this opportunity to leave his name for 100 generations, then he wouldn't have lived in vain. Driven by such thoughts, coupled with the feeling of being a martyr on the battlefield to protect their homeland, countless supermasters rushed to Luohua City. However, most of the people who had gathered here were just ordinary martial artists. These people were barely at the level of a saint. Naturally, they didn't have any intention of fighting for supremacy. However, their hot-bloodedness wasn't inferior to any of the participants. We may not have peerless divine skills, but we have hot-bloodedness. We may not be able to become kings, but we can still contribute a little bit of cannon fodder and a straw to the war against the extraterrestrial demons. There were even many people who had irreconcilable blood feuds with each other. In the past, whenever they met, they would immediately draw their swords and fight to the death. But after meeting this time, both sides smiled at each other in unison. The invasion of the heavenly demons is a huge matter. The grudge between you and me is a personal grudge. Let's not have a personal grudge. That's right. After killing the extraterrestrial demons, if we're still alive, shall we have a battle with you? After killing the extraterrestrial demons, if we're lucky enough to survive, we'll fight to the death. If you die in the holy war, we'll forget about our grudge. I'll do my best to raise your descendants. If I die in the holy war, you can do whatever you want. Are you the only one who's noble? If you don't die in the holy war, I'll definitely kill you. But if you die in the holy war, I won't bully your orphans and widows. On the contrary, I'll take care of them with all my heart. Take care of yourself. Wait for the day when I chop your neck with my sword. You too. Take care of yourself. Don't die in the hands of those extraterrestrial demons. My sword still needs your blood and sweat. The Demon Empress order undoubtedly shocked the world. Of course, the one who was the most shocked was Chu Yang himself. When he heard this news, Chu Yang was completely dumbfounded. Elder sister, I just wanted your son to beg you, and then you would agree to hold a martial arts exhibition in Luohua City. My original intention was at most to gather some people from here, to expand the team for the expedition in the future. I really didn't have any more ideas. Do you have to make such a big fuss? Chu Yang was completely at a loss. The changes in front of him had greatly exceeded his expectations. He had completely lost the ability to control the overall situation. Damn it, how can a mere saint like me be so busy with such a big matter? I only have a few people under me. At most, it's less than 10,000. But now, so many people have come to Luohua City. At least 10 million people. What do you want me to do? Do you think I'm Imo Tianji? Even if Imo Tianji was here, he might not be able to handle it. Although I'm somewhat talented, I know my own limitations. Even if I don't belittle myself, or even if I'm invincible, to have to deal with so many tedious things every day, oh my God, kill me. Oh God, save me. Chu Yang was very worried. Not only him, but even Meng Weia, Tai Butian, and Wu Chanxian, who were used to countless big scenes, were stunned by the big deal of the Demon Empress this time. This was too surprising. In fact, the cause of this matter was very simple. It was not complicated at all. At first, Chu Yang felt that the current manpower was relatively insufficient. It was not enough to form an army to wipe out the extraterrestrial demons. Even their ability to protect themselves was not strong enough. So, he discussed with others to see if there was a way to recruit people faster. Chu Yang's idea was very simple and pure. Lure people with fame and benefits. Organize some activities, create some reputation, take out a few divine weapons or heavenly treasures, and attract people to come. Then recruit them from the excavations. But there was an unavoidable problem. That was, it had to be approved by the officials of Demon Emperor's Heaven. Otherwise, it would be an illegal gathering, and it would definitely be suspected and punished by the officials. And the city lord of Luohua City obviously did not have this authority. But when this matter reached Yao Ningning's ears, he immediately patted his chest and said, "Leave this small matter to me. We can directly give orders in the name of the royal family. I will have the final say in organizing this event." So, there was a series of previous events. Before leaving, Chu Yang reminded him again and again, "You must make it clear. Don't cause unnecessary misunderstandings. Also, the matter should not be too big. Everything is important." Fearful. Yao Ningning agreed readily, as if it was a small matter and no problem at all. Who would have thought that this guy would do such an earth-shattering thing after he went back? This was far from Chu Yang's original plan. It was at least thousands of miles away. For a moment, Chu Yang felt as if the wind was blowing and the clouds were surging in the world. Countless heroes and warriors were rushing towards this place. He felt as if the world had become his heart. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Chu Yang was in tears. Why did I believe that idiot? I knew that he was an idiot, but I still pinned my hopes on him. If he is an idiot, then I am an idiot. I am just a small character from a small family. Is there a need to go through so much trouble? Damn it. I really can't afford to go through so much trouble now. Of course, Chu Yang still had other considerations in his heart. The Demon Empress was so serious. On the surface, it seemed that it was because of her son's request, But this was too much of a fuss, although the theory of the invasion of the extraterrestrial demons might not be groundless. For so many tens of thousands of years, if the extraterrestrial demons with ulterior motives did not infiltrate the Heaven Imperial Court, Chu Yang would not believe it even if he used his but to think. The Demon Empress attitude also showed that this female hero was a resolute supporter of war when it came to the matter of the extraterrestrial demons. She seemed to be using this matter to announce something and reveal something to the entire Heaven Imperial Court. Anyway, it was definitely not entirely because of her son's request. How could a strong person who could reach the level of the Demon Empress do things like this? This was completely impossible. Therefore, Chu Yang could not help but think further. He thought again of the time when the Heavenly Emperor of Purple Clouds was alone and without help. Then, he thought of the Demon Empress' great fanfare this time. Chu Yang decided that although there might be something fishy about this matter, since this unexpected meat pie had already fallen from the sky, then even if he knew that it was beyond his ability and that he could not swallow it, he had to swallow it. Even if he was stuffed to death, he had to try his best to swallow it. This might have some considerations of the Demon Empress, but this might also be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the Heavenly Armament Pavilion to rise. Go all out, I'm going to do it. When Chu Yang said this, he gritted his teeth and tears streamed down his face. This meant that the Heavenly Armament Pavilion would once again become the world's poorest pauper in the shortest time possible. There are so many people's food, clothing, lodging, cultivation, weapons, armors, and so on. All of these things need to be prepared, right? Poor me, I've only been rich for a few days. I haven't even enjoyed myself yet, and I'm about to become poor, bitter. After working hard for more than 10 years, I'm going to become a pauper overnight. Chu Yang looked up at the sky and sighed, speechless. But since he had already decided to do it, then he would do everything in the best direction. Sorry for yesterday, brothers and sisters, please forgive me. This is a supplementary update. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 2238. After making up his mind, Chu Yang immediately informed the Tang clan's third young master, I have a large number of treasures to auction. Quickly exchange them for purple cloud coins. I don't want to maximize the value, but I want to be fast. The Tang clan's third young master was as thin as a bamboo pole. As soon as he heard the news, he became busy as if a spring had been wound up. Countless purple cloud coins flowed into Chu Yang and the Tang clan's third young master's pockets. At the same time, foreign martial artists also rushed into Luo Hua City in batches. From Chu Yang to Tai Bu Tian, Meng Wuya, Wu Chen Qian, and the others in the Heavenly Armament Pavilion were all spinning like crazy. They were so busy that their feet were hitting the back of their heads. It seemed that they didn't even have time to take a breather. Someone had to receive so many people. The Demon Empress had personally ordered these people to come. She couldn't let these people sleep on the streets, right? Then, where would the Demon Empress put her face? Fortunately, there were official helpers in Luo Hua City. But even so, the entire Luo Hua City was full within 7 days. Chu Yang had no choice but to think of another way. But at this time, the Tang clan's third young master suddenly had an idea. He got hundreds of thousands of tents to sell at one time. After making a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of white mushrooms appeared outside Luo Hua City overnight. There were too many people living in tents. They were waiting for the Demon Empress to announce the start of the event. Seeing this situation, Chu Yang suddenly had an idea. He immediately poured out a lot of purple cloud coins and asked all the clothing manufacturers to start making tents in large numbers. Just the first batch of orders had already reached a total of 5 million. Note that this was only the first batch. Chu Yang could completely predict that with the capacity of martial artists in the Demon Emperor Heaven and the power of the Demon Empress personal summons, the number of martial artists who came here would definitely exceed 20 to 30 million. So, tents were now good things. Just at the beginning, Chu Yang was already a little overwhelmed. I really can't afford this. This was Chu Yang's catchphrase now. He almost became a lunatic if he kept saying this. However, Chu Yang didn't know that there was something that he couldn't afford to do. This catchphrase of his had yet to be repeated. The most mysterious Godfall forest in the Double Heaven Imperial Court also showed signs of people. Godfall Jungle. This place was not necessarily mysterious. It was actually a super jungle that spanned from the west, south, and east of the Demon Emperor's sky from the other side. However, it was also the dividing line between the Demon Emperor Heaven of the Heaven Imperial Court and the other three great heavens and earth adjacent to it. In terms of area alone, the God's Fall jungle was absolutely not smaller than any world. Moreover, the area of the God's Fall forest seemed to be faintly expanding. Of course, these were not enough for this forest to be called the most mysterious. The reason why this forest was called the most mysterious was because in the legends, a true god had fallen in this forest. Therefore, it was called the Godfall Forest. However, no one knew whether or not a god had fallen here. However, as far as the Heaven Imperial Court was concerned, the God's Fall Forest was not only a mysterious place, but also a forbidden area. It was definitely a forbidden area. No one was allowed to enter the God's Fall Forest. Even Diguang had to discuss with the people inside if he wanted to enter the God's Fall Forest. It was said that there was a very special race inside. This race was called the Elves. They didn't belong to humans or demons. They were a race that had unique life characteristics. In the God's Fall Forest, there were many experts and there was no lack of top-notch experts. The legendary Elf Emperor's cultivation was definitely not below Diguang's. He might even be stronger. Now, in such a precarious and delicate moment, the elf race of the God's Fall Forest suddenly appeared and declared, "We, the elf race, are duty-bound to exterminate the extraterrestrial demons. Protecting the Heaven Imperial Court is the sacred duty of the elf race. We also want to participate in the battle of exterminating the demons." Although everyone was dissatisfied with the elf race's boasting and even thought too highly of themselves, they just silently complained. The war was imminent and the extraterrestrial demons were present. It was really not suitable for them to cause trouble. Moreover, the elf race was kind enough to help. If it was in the past, the humans and demons would probably teach these fellows a lesson just because of these arrogant words. What did they mean by, "You're duty-bound to exterminate the demons"? What did they mean by, "Protecting the Heaven Imperial Court is the sacred duty of the elf race"? You can be responsible, but don't think of yourself as the savior of the world. Do you think you're the king of the world? If it was just this, it would be fine. Although everyone was dissatisfied, at this special juncture, they still understood the big picture. They tolerated it one by one. It didn't matter. If you want to participate in the war, then participate. One more battle force was one more chance of winning. However, this elf race was obviously too arrogant. He actually made such an illogical and even annoying request. "We, the elf race, will definitely participate. However, as noble as we are, we will never accept the command of humans. We will never accept the command of demons. We, the elf race, are the noblest race in the world. We are the only race in the world. We are the supreme race. All the races and manpower that participate in the war must be arranged and coordinated by us. We will send out the invincible generals, the invincible military advisors. The right to command the war must be controlled by us. No one else has any authority. They must obey all of our commands unconditionally. Once such a condition was thrown out, the entire Demon Emperor's sky exploded. Why? Who do you think you are? How many tens of thousands of years has it been? Who has seen you? Do you know what this world is like? Do you know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is? He actually wanted to take over the command right from the start. What the fuck? The Demon Emperor's heaven's pugilistic world was in an uproar. The elves refused to give in to his demands, and the two sides fell into a stalemate. Looking at how things were developing, perhaps the two sides would have to fight before the heavenly demon battle. Chu Yang sighed. What should I do about this matter? The elf race is really awesome. If others don't accept your conditions, you can either take a step back or just retreat and not participate in the battle, right? However, every single one of them was stubborn. Over and over again, there was only one sentence. We want to participate in the war. We want full command authority. We don't accept it. None of you are worthy. Seeing that the next conflict was about to erupt, even the instigator of this matter, the Demon Empress, did not expect that such an announcement would cause a huge uproar. However, she did not expect that the elf race, who had been lost to the world for a long time, would come out. Furthermore, the elf race's way of thinking was so weird and illogical. Currently, although the news of the elf clan had already spread, the elf clan did not send out a large army. Only their representatives and the upper echelons of the Demon Emperor Heaven were constantly arguing. Although the atmosphere was very intense, it was not to the point of no return. The Demon Empress could only ignore it for the time being. If she really went to discuss with these people, she would probably not be able to say more than a few words before she would attack and kill all of them. However, it was obviously not suitable for her to kill them now. In the hearts of the higher-ups of the Demon Emperor Sky, they naturally knew about the eccentricity of the elf race. The elf race was a race that was so arrogant that it made almost all the other races loathe them. In their hearts, number one under the heavens. Number one under the heavens. This kind of thinking was deeply rooted and almost unshakable. Other than being arrogant, almost every elf race had misophobia and were extremely particular about cleanliness. They had always looked at people with their nostrils. Even if it was the most beautiful woman in the world, they would only disdain her because she smelled like a fish. Even the cleanest place would be sneered at by them, all trash. However, the elf race's nature was to advocate peace. They were kind-hearted and did not like war. Even the most demanding race would never deny these. They were like a group of angels who did not eat the food of mortals. It made people love and hate them. We know that you are an angel and we can also treat you as an angel. However, please don't treat yourself as an angel, okay? That was probably the reason. Author's note, I suddenly thought of our author when I wrote here. It seemed that there were some similarities. When the readers read books and treat the author as a great god, that was because the readers liked it. However, the author must not treat himself as a great god. However, regarding this matter, Chu Yang felt that he was very indifferent. It seemed that this matter had nothing to do with him. Although when he was in the Chongtian continent, he had some relations with the native elves there. He had once helped Duke Yu and even obtained some elf emperor's seal. However, all of that seemed to have nothing to do with the elves here. Moreover, judging from the arrogance of these elves, Chu Yang was even a little worried. If they found out that I, a human, had obtained the elf clan's elf emperor's seal, would they become angry out of humiliation and kill me? Because I am a dirty human. Moreover, they were arguing with the higher-ups of the Demon Emperor Heaven. Those were the higher-ups of the Demon Emperor Heaven. It had nothing to do with him. The mountain was high and the emperor was far away. He believed that he would definitely not be able to see them. Groundless fears? Looking for trouble? Therefore, Chu Yang put all his energy into continuing to expand his forces. The Demon Empress had given him convenience and created such a good advantage. If he did not make good use of it, how could he be worthy of her great support? Chapter 2239. After Yao Ningning by Shi Xian and the others left, the beautiful woman in white finally couldn't hold it in anymore. With doubts, she walked into the palace of the Demon Empress. Big sister, do you think that there's something fishy about this matter? The white-clothed beautiful woman asked suspiciously. The Demon Empress laughed. You've been dragging your feet all the way until now. I think you're here to ask me about this matter, right? The beautiful woman in white nodded embarrassedly. Yes, a heavenly devil suddenly appeared. This matter is a little too inconceivable. The Demon Empress shook her head. Bringing up this matter now might be a little abrupt, but it might not be inconceivable. Because in the Heaven Imperial Palace, there are heavenly devils lurking. It's not a rumor, it's real. I can understand that there are people hiding in the extraterritorial demons. However, the three people who came earlier were clearly Mo Yuntian's three great guards. They weren't extraterritorial demons. The beautiful woman in white continued. We can beat a snake to death, but we still need a reason to beat a snake. What we got rid of are the remnants of the heavenly devils lurking in the demon emperor heaven. No one can doubt it, no one can doubt it. The demon empress said slowly. Big sister, I can understand what you're saying. But there's another matter, which is also the most important thing. Our actions might not be beneficial to ourselves. It will only completely benefit Chu Yang and his heavenly armament pavilion. The beautiful woman in white was puzzled. Although Ning Ning and he are friends and know each other's hearts, I'm afraid we're making a big fuss over nothing by doing this. Furthermore, he's developing his strength in the Demon Emperor Heaven. Wouldn't he absorb all the experts of our Demon Emperor Heaven? The beautiful woman in white still had one more sentence that she didn't say. This is clearly inviting a wolf into the house. Aren't you afraid of being devoured by it one day? In the past, Chu Yang might not have needed to worry about this. But now, Chu Yang was already close to the level of a sage. His cultivation was still increasing at a rapid pace. According to the information that had been gathered over the past few days, even his subordinates were making continuous progress at a speed visible to the naked eye. Although this force was still in its embryonic form, it was already showing an unstoppable momentum. The demon empress smiled calmly and said, "Your worries are reasonable, but I naturally have my own considerations. There are 3 reasons why I would do this." There are actually 3 reasons? The beautiful woman in white frowned. Please tell me, elder sister. The first reason is because of the friendship between Chu Yang and Ning. You also said that they are very close to each other. It's really rare for Ning to have such a friend. Of course, this reason is the weakest factor. If it's only because of this, I can at most guarantee that Chu Yang won't die. I won't make such a big move. However, because of the first reason, it can also guarantee that Ning Er's position in the heavenly imperial court will be unshakable once Chu Yang's wings are fully grown. What he had was an extremely reliable ally that he didn't have to worry about. This was a friendship that had been forged in times of adversity. Such a relationship is indeed worth investing in. The demon empress spoke tirelessly, and the beautiful woman in white listened attentively. Elder sister is right about this. Chu Yang is indeed not an ungrateful person. There are hundreds of benefits and no disadvantages to being close to him. I agree. But what about the other 2 reasons? The second reason is relatively simpler. The demon empress smiled strangely. A few days ago, I started a heaven covering. The beautiful woman in white's face twitched uncontrollably because of this sudden shocking news. Heaven covering? Whose heaven are you covering? Shui Leihan's heaven. The demon empress sneered. Eastern royal heaven. The beautiful woman in white was instantly dumbfounded. She couldn't believe it. But do you think there's something wrong with my way of doing things? Only he can cover my heaven, but I can't cover his heaven? The demon empress raised her eyebrows. That's not what I meant. The beautiful woman in white hurriedly denied. This elder sister's temper was still the same as before. She wouldn't take any loss. After covering the Eastern Royal Heaven, Shui Leihan didn't say any more nonsense. He only told me one thing. The demon empress's expression was a little serious. She said, he said, there's someone behind Chu Yang. There's someone behind him? The beautiful woman in white was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth. The meaning of this sentence was very clear. It was even very explicit. However, such a sentence, coming from Shui Leihan's mouth, seemed so unusual. The meaning of, there's someone behind him, was undoubtedly, I can't afford to offend anyone behind Chu Yang. But, who could it be if even Shui Leihan couldn't afford to offend him? Shui Leihan was a ruthless character who even dared to challenge the saint back then. And the saint was the indisputable number 1 existence in this heaven imperial court world. And the person whom the Eastern Royal Heaven Emperor couldn't afford to offend might not be the saint. Then, who could that person be? At that time, I couldn't help but ask this question. The demon empress said thoughtfully, Shui Leihan only said, if something happens to us, it might not be so. If something happens to Chu Yang, I'm afraid the entire Heaven Imperial Court will cease to exist. What? There's actually such a person in this world? Is this possible? It's impossible, right? The beautiful woman in white wasn't as surprised as she was today. This was too shocking. Sweet potato. In this heaven imperial court world, we're certainly the top existences and rulers. But outside this world, what kind of level can we be considered? This universe is so vast. How many things and how many experts are there that we don't know about? The demon empress looked at the starry sky outside the window and said with a sigh, "Of course, this shocked me greatly, but it's still not the main reason why I'm willing to help. Even if there's really an unparalleled expert behind Chu Yang, if he really offends me, he'll still die. I said I won't help him, so I won't help him. This isn't a big deal. Even if this world is destroyed, I won't be the only unlucky one to suffer. Heaven and earth will decay because of me, and the universe will be overturned because of me. Isn't this a happy thing in life?" A cold light flashed in the demon empress' eyes, and her aura instantly rose. The beautiful woman in white saw this, and her back was drenched in cold sweat. How could she not know her own sister's character? She would rather break than bend. Heaven and earth were never in her eyes. What really made me determined was the third point. This third point is the most important factor. The demon empress said softly, "The extraterrestrial demons. The extraterrestrial demons? What has it got to do with the extraterrestrial demons?" The beautiful woman in white frowned and repeated, asking subconsciously. "The extraterrestrial demons are the most important enemies of our heaven imperial court. They're also a problem that we have to face in the future." Back then, Jianghu, the purple firmament emperor, realized this point. That's why he still chose to fight alone. In the end, his entire army was annihilated and he died. But what no one knows is, it's because of Jianghu's desperate battle that most of the extraterrestrial demons experts were killed. Although it didn't damage their foundation, it's still because of that battle that the extraterrestrial demons no longer have the confidence to swallow the entire heaven imperial court. It's already so difficult for them to fight against just Jianghu heavens. What's more, they have to fight against all 10 heavens and earth at the same time. So all these years, they've been recuperating. Although they haven't given up on their evil intentions, they still don't dare to act rashly. The demon empress heaved a sigh of relief. When Jianghu fought against the extraterrestrial demons, the connection between the entire purple firmament and the outside world was completely cut off. There's no news at all. There was a rumor that Jianghu, the heavenly emperor of Jianghu, knew the danger of the battle. He once sent his personal bodyguards, which were his 7 stars bodyguards, to break out of the encirclement and ask for help. But these 7 people disappeared without a trace. If Jianghu's 7 stars bodyguards were still there, that battle would still inevitably end in failure. But I believe that Jianghu wouldn't have died in the battle. The demon empress' cold face was full of doubts. But in fact, those 7 people did spread the news. It was also from then on that the various heavens and earth in the heaven imperial court united against a common enemy because of the extraterrestrial demons. Countless experts of the pugilistic world rushed to purple firmament's aid at night. But at that time, because each heavens and earth had their own misgivings, they couldn't unite against a common enemy. The various heavenly emperors restrained each other, and the saints' attitude was ambiguous. In the end, I couldn't take it anymore. Because our demon emperor heaven isn't far from purple firmament, I snuck into purple firmament alone to see the situation of the battle. Unfortunately, I was one step too late. I only saw the aftermath of that battle. Just 15 minutes before I went, Jianghu finally self-destructed and died. Tens of thousands of extraterrestrial demons' corpses floated in the air. Jianghu's last roar has been echoing in my heart for more than 1,000,000 years. Wuxia looked up to the sky and sighed. Suddenly, she roared like a thunderbolt. Fighting alone. Fighting to the last soldier. What's the point of dying? But not a single one of the trillions of living beings in the heaven imperial court came to help. Why are people's hearts so cold? Why are people's hearts so cold? The demon empress let out a thunderous roar without any warning, causing the entire demon emperor's sky to tremble endlessly. In an instant, the sky was filled with wind and clouds. Just like back then, the purple firmament heavenly Emperor Zhao let out an extremely sullen roar before he died. The beautiful woman in white, who was closest to the source of the sound, suddenly felt goosebumps all over her body. Waves of hot blood surged and made her hair stand on end. For 1,000,000 years, I've been asking myself this question. Why are people's hearts so cold? The demon empress smiled bleakly. There were many doubts about what happened back then. There must be something else going on, and there must be a big hand manipulating all of this. At this moment, the beautiful woman in white was so shocked that she was speechless. For such a top secret, the only thing she could do was to be shocked. Seeing Zhao die, I was one step too late. In my anger, I activated the demonic emperor's secret technique, demonic emperor's universe, at that moment. With one attack, millions of extraterrestrial demons were instantly turned into dust. They were all buried with Zhao. I was one step too late and couldn't fight side by side with that unparalleled hero. This was the only way for the hero to not be lonely. Chapter 2240. It's a pity that I was still alone at that time, and my demonic power was exhausted. To be able to fight against the extraterrestrial demons for a long time, even I could only retreat temporarily when the few demon lords of the extraterrestrial demons were on the move. The demon empress looked up and sighed. After that battle, tens of thousands of years had passed. Outside the ink sky, the corpse of one of Zhao's 7 star guards was found by chance. It was outside the ink sky, in the mountains. His body was like a beehive, and only a skeleton was left. After that, Shui Leihan spent a lot of effort and found the corpses of other people. They were left on the ice peak of the extreme heaven forever. They became eternally frozen. Their faces full of grief and indignation before they died were still vivid, as if they were still alive. So that's how Zhao's 7 star guards died. That's why Shui Leihan rushed to the imperial court in a rage and fought a bloody battle with the saint back then. The demon empress said thoughtfully, however, until the end of that battle, Shui Leihan still didn't really explain what exactly happened back then. However, ever since that battle, the Eastern Royal Heavens was heavily guarded, and the entire Eastern Royal Heavens was preparing for war. It has been 1,000,000 years since then. Furthermore, after that battle, Shui Leihan obviously distanced himself from the other heavenly emperors. He was rarely seen again. The reason why our two heavens still have contact with each other is probably because Shui Leihan knew that I had once gone to the purple cloud heavens to help. In the end, I even helped the purple cloud heavenly emperor a little. However, this made me feel sincerely ashamed. The demon empress sighed deeply. The beautiful lady in white exhaled deeply, feeling that she was already shocked to the point that she was going to be dumbfounded. Just this short sentence contained so many secrets, so many huge secrets that could explode the entire heavenly imperial court. She really couldn't think of it even if she cracked her head. Countless unsolvable mysteries appeared one by one in front of her today. Back then, why couldn't the news from the purple cloud heavens be sent out? Why did Zhao have to send out his 7 star guards to break through the blockade and send out the news? And why did the 7 star guards die? What role did the saint play in this? What was the reaction of the various heavenly emperors at that time? Why did one person die in the ink sky? Everyone else died in the extreme sky? And what did heavenly emperor Ink Cloud, Yuan Tianjie, do? The violet firmament monarch, Zhao, has always been on good terms with the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms. Why didn't he head to the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms to request for reinforcements? Yet, he wanted to go to the ink cloud sky and the extreme sky. No matter which one of these questions was enough to trigger a huge tsunami in the Heaven Imperial Court. And what exactly happened in the Heaven Imperial Court that year that no one knew about? These were all mysteries. But one thing was for sure, something must have happened between the top leaders of the Heaven Imperial Court back then. And these things were the key to Zhao's defeat. After that, Emperor 1, Empress 1, and only Saint Monarch slowly separated their respective worlds. They minded their own business and rarely interacted with each other. Moreover, each of them is filled with suspicion and fear towards the other. The demon empress' voice was filled with indescribable fatigue and indescribable sorrow. After Zihao died, in order to find a clear understanding, I once went deep into the place of the extraterrestrial demons alone. I transformed into their clansmen and understood everything about the extraterrestrial demons. The demon empress said softly, "Then I found out that these extraterrestrial demons are the life and death enemy of our heaven imperial court. At the same time, they are also an unavoidable great danger. The place where the extraterrestrial demons originally lived is floating in the universe. It is a special existence like an isolated island. The area is very limited. Moreover, the environment is extremely bad. When the strong wind blows, the extraterrestrial demons will have waves of air that reach the sky. The earth trembles and the mountains shake. There are even volcanic eruptions. It seriously threatens their safety. In their surroundings, there is no suitable place for them to live. And if the extraterrestrial demons want to expand, they must invade the Heaven Imperial Court. Purple Cloud Heavens is only their first stronghold. They will definitely not stop here. They are ambitious and farsighted. As early as 1,000,000 years ago, they have already started to distort the truth and claim that our Heaven Imperial Court is the evil one. In their mouth, we natives have become the extraterrestrial demons who commit all kinds of evil. Confusing right and wrong, turning black and white upside down. There is nothing better than this. The beautiful woman in white clenched her teeth and scolded. But under their long-term propaganda, the entire extraterrestrial demon clan has already united against a common enemy. Even the children who receive education in their schools have to shout slogans before they start learning every time they go to class. The slogan is actually, "Exterminate the extraterrestrial demons and restore our Heaven Imperial Court." The demon empress said, "They are simply shameless. How can there be such a despicable race?" The beautiful woman in white was so angry that her face turned red. The Purple Cloud Heavens is a lone piece of land in the outside world. It has always been coveted by the otherworldly demons. Now that it has been taken over by them, they actually have the audacity to say that this piece of land was originally their homeland, and we are the invaders from long ago. The demon empress voice was very eerie. This group of bastards who deserve to be cut into pieces. Back then, they invaded our Purple Cloud Heavens. Hundreds of millions of Purple Cloud Heaven citizens were all killed by them. They committed a monstrous crime of killing and still have the audacity to twist the truth and make a false accusation that we are the invaders. How can there be such a shameless thing in this world? How can there be such a shameless race? The beautiful woman in white was so angry that her towering chest heaved up and down continuously. Her face was flushed red as if she was about to explode. The extraterrestrial demons have been preparing for war since 1,000,000 years ago. They have never given up on their desire to destroy us. But our Heaven Imperial Court has always been singing and dancing in peace. We have been building our chariots behind closed doors. The only battles we have are all internal strife. The demon empress sighed helplessly. No matter if it is the number of experts or ordinary people in the Heaven Imperial Court, they outnumber the extraterrestrial demons by more than 10 times. If they really go all out in a battle, exterminating the extraterrestrial demons would be as easy as flipping one's hand. But the demon empress let out a long sigh. The beautiful woman in white was also an important member of the demon emperor heaven. How could she not know the current situation of the Heaven Imperial Court? She couldn't help but let out a long sigh. At first glance, the Heaven Imperial Court looked strong and powerful, but the regular armies of the various worlds had not participated in a large-scale battle for far too long. Now, apart from the high-level experts, the so-called regular army's combat power was far inferior to the people of the pugilistic world. The reason for all this was very simple. Everyone had been living in peace for far too long. It had been so long that they had gradually forgotten their battle instincts. And the environment of the extraterrestrial demons was extremely harsh. For the sake of hope, for the sake of the future, everyone was practicing martial arts with all their might. Everyone saw the destruction of the Heaven Imperial Court as their own responsibility. If a great battle broke out one day, it would be hard to predict the outcome of the battle. It was definitely not optimistic. The extraterrestrial demons and the Heaven Imperial Court will have a battle sooner or later. This is already foreseeable. The Demon Empress said softly, to restore the purple cloud heavens and let it return to the Heaven Imperial Court's territory has been our long-cherished wish for many years. But the extraterrestrial demons will definitely not back out easily. Our restoration of the purple cloud heavens is mostly just to avenge the heroes, to avenge the innocent people, to take back what we originally had, and to vent our anger. But to the extraterrestrial demons, this is a battle of life and death. So, once we make a move on the purple cloud heavens, the extraterrestrial demons will fight to the death with the Heaven Imperial Court. There is absolutely no possibility of retreat. That battle will happen sooner or later. The Demon Empress said quietly, if we win in the end, everyone will be happy. But if we lose, then the great catastrophe of the Heaven Imperial Court will be unavoidable. So this battle has not broken out yet. The main reason is that both sides have their own concerns and are unwilling to start a war easily. But in the long run, if we continue to wait as the extraterrestrial demons become more and more rampant, our gradually weakening military power will definitely weaken further. The Demon Empress smiled bitterly. If this continues, the day of the Heaven Imperial Court's destruction is just around the corner. Because the purple cloud heavens is really too close to them. Moreover, in the recent million years, the extraterrestrial demons have been recuperating, so their numbers have naturally increased. Their original places of residence can no longer accommodate so many new people. The Demon Empress sighed heavily. The extraterrestrial demons are really the common mortal enemy of all the races in the Heaven Imperial Court. But this time, Elder Sister suddenly announced that the heavenly demons had infiltrated and caused mischief. She put on a battle-ready stance. The beautiful woman in white was clearly still somewhat puzzled. In the end, it's still because of what Shui Leihan said earlier. The Demon Empress said, Chu Yang, there's someone behind him. Obviously, this person is a super existence that even the saint has to look up to. With such a strong person holding the fort, why should we be afraid of the extraterrestrial demons? And it just so happens that Chu Yang also wants to develop his strength in preparation to slaughter the extraterrestrial demons in the future. So, we have to take advantage of the situation. Whatever Chu Yang wants, I'll give it to him. As long as we can eliminate the extraterrestrial demons, what's the point of paying a small price? Even if we use all the strength of the demon race, we'll do it without hesitation. The Demon Empress's phoenix eyes flashed with extreme viciousness. She said, but doing this is still not enough. So, the next step is to organize a team of our extraterrestrial demons to kill and plunder wantonly in various worlds to create the illusion of the extraterrestrial demons and create the broadest and greatest influence in the entire Heaven Imperial Court. The beautiful woman in white was shocked. How can this work? In this way, if the matter is exposed, the one who will suffer in the end will still be you, elder sister. The Demon Empress was indifferent. She said coldly, those who ignore the extraterrestrial demons and are greedy for pleasure don't deserve to live in this world in the first place. What's the pity of killing them? As for me, if I can awaken everyone in the Heaven Imperial Court to stand up and fight against the extraterrestrial demons, what's the point of my reputation? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.